Hey guys, welcome back to the Open Chess Anime Podcast with your host, the Anime Collector. And joining me as always, we've got Donjobo Agi.
Hey, live from the Rocket City. How's the rest of everyone doing? Up next is someone else.
Reese 2753.
I mean,
See
pizza
you.
is pretty good.
And Foodnum, who may or may not
Has
have a good
internet.
connection. Oh, he's here. All right, cool. So
You didn't notice I was here the whole time?
No, I noticed you were here. I just didn't know how your internet was doing.
Yeah, we thought you were long necking.
Okay.
Of course.
So, sorry we're a little late today. In fact, I've been kind of thinking about when we used to do the podcast on Thursdays, like every other Thursday. Boy, I'm going to knock this down by the night, so I might as well just throw it on the ground now. I was going to say, where's this other one from? Okay, well, that's a pickup. That's a pickup. I'm going to leave that on the ground. Okay, anyway. So, when we used to host the podcast every other Thursday, there was kind of like a set time. Like, we're doing this at 9, right? And I think that actually made getting articles done a little bit easier. Although nowadays things are harder for different reasons. The extra kid, all that stuff. There's always something going on. But I'm wondering if it might be beneficial to just start making the stream and everything ahead of time, so that I have to be done on time. You know what I mean? But actually today, the reason we are doing it much later than the week, the noon time weekend, the middle of the day time, is that I had the pest control out today. They come on Tuesdays every the first or second Tuesday of every month. Anyway, so yeah, that's enough stalling. Wrong mouse. Yes, so it's been. There we go. Let's jump right in. Actually, unless you guys have anything you want to say right at the beginning of the stream, like like and subscribe and share with your friends and all that fun stuff.
Ring the bell. Show the Patreons.
Oh, I got the Patreons right here. Oh, nope, not that one.
Subscribe and join our various multimedias like Facebook, Twitter, and Discord.
We're just the
Augie,
best
is your mic
salesman.
plugged in?
We still got to make that Pornhub channel, so that's a work in progress.
Oh, is
I don't
that
know
the
what
next
I would
stretch
even-
goal or whatever it is?
I guess so. Yeah, I'm so tired of having to agree to have cookies. All right, so if you guys want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is actually by spreading it word of mouth, like the coronavirus. Infect
Like
people with
Pornhub.
our podcast.
No, we're talking on people with droplets.
But another way you can do it is through funding us via Super Chats or Patreon. And if you want to support the Anime Collector channel, you can do so through the Anime Collector Patreon, which is a great way to get me moving slightly incrementally faster on projects. And now that I've got the office set up again for lights and stuff, I can do tip videos and stuff. So talk to me behind the scenes. There's actually a couple tip videos I want to do, but we'll see how time goes. And then of course there's Stealth Weeb, which boy, I have like another one started. I actually have it like up on my computer right now in Illustrator, but I just somehow didn't get around to finishing it yet, and it's super easy. So that'll probably be up hopefully by next podcast. Anyway, so jumping right in, there's something I want to show you guys regarding the Vic. Stan tweeted, "Wow, they are lying about me and Erica again. My last day with AWA was late 2013. I submitted my written resignation with the former owner and VP. I'm in hell is going to work for the current owners. They can pound sand." Now, Erica said, just in case they want receipts, here's the message. Faisal Ahmed, who originally put out the affidavit, right, that started all Stan and them. Or actually, Stan was brought into the case because of Monica, claiming that he was a witness to the assault, if we can even call it that she claimed happened. And then Erica was brought in through Faisal's affidavit. So here's what the tweet or the messages originally said from October 18, 2013. Word on the street is that Vic is possibly banned from Anime Week in Atlanta. No. Who said that? Also, did you talk to Stan recently? So this is Faisal Ahmed saying, no, Vic is not banned. So she said, one of our other handlers, Stan messaged me to tell me about ticket prices to Hawaii. Vic is not coming next year, so we can allow other guests to come. Stan resigned officially from AWA Sunday. He submitted the letter to Lloyd personally. Yeah, she told me that too. So, well, that leaves a hole. Not really. I did his job last year. I booked every guest but Vic. So, yeah, interesting tidbits in there, right? So, first of all, this is, again, proof backing up Stan's claim that he signed a written resignation, submitted it and everything. Now, of course, in case you're wondering what they claimed, I remember somebody in here was nice enough to link the actual lies. It was actually from Law Archives. So when Rekieta used to have the Twitter handle at Law Archive, now I'm hearing the echo, and Law Archive was what he used that he claimed he had an intern using, right? And then when his Rekieta Law, at Rekieta Law Twitter handle got banned or whatever off Twitter, he migrated over to at Law Archive and changed it to at Rekieta Media, right? So then somebody on KickVic jumped in and I shouldn't say stole, took the Law Archive handle and has been like, I don't know, using against him, I guess. I don't know. But they said, ask Stan and Erica to tell you why we're removed and banned from AWA, right? So then this person literally just asked, hey, at Erica and at Stan, is this true? Right? It says, bitch, we snitching now? Hey, she told me to ask, right? Referring to Law Archive. Anyway, so that's it. That's all. I just wanted to share that because I thought actually that the messages that Erica shared were kind of interesting. Furthering that, no, Vic's not banned, right? All that stuff. Again, this is from 2013. Anyway, so let's jump right into our favorite topic that everybody loves discussing all the time, the coronavirus.
Yay!
Your favorite segment. Yay!
I've been watching a lot of anime since this thing happened.
I wonder if that's going to get old.
Logically.
Like, I wonder if, because you know how, like, anime being so easily obtained and watchable on Netflix and just like it's at your fingertips basically, whereas in the back in the day when we started to sort of get into it, it was not easy to get a hold of, you know. I wonder if the added thing of the coronavirus and being able to just sit down and watch it is going to actually turn you off to it a little bit.
Fatigue you.
Yeah, fatigue. That's a good phrasing for it. All right. Oh, here we've got our list of things that are delayed and postponed and all that stuff. Sword Art Online, Alicization, War of Underworld anime second part, delayed to July.
Along with the overpriced box set they have to get payment plans for.
Words bubble up like soda pop. Anime film release date pushed back. So I'm actually only sharing this because I didn't even know what this thing was, but it's just kind of like a reminder to myself, hey, I can make a Tough Boys shirt over here, right? So we should pay attention to when this comes out so I can make it because it's easy. Oh, this girl has a shirt too that I could probably make. Anyway, continuing. Pokemon anime to go on hiatus, according to voice actress who voices Satoshi / Ash in the Japanese version. What were you saying, Augie?
Wasn't there some, it was off topic, but wasn't there some easy shirts in Girls and Panzer the movie you can check out?
There might be. I have to watch it again. It wasn't on my radar back then. And I remember loving that show, but I can't recall any specific thing that happened in it. So that's how it goes. See, the thing is that once you have to do something for a job, the way that your brain sort of registers it kind of changes. Is it me or does it feel like, oh man, it was weird. Okay, so I guess it's my stuttery camera. For a second there, it looked like the fan was causing my desk to vibrate somehow. Anyway. Because like the camera was like moving a little bit, but I guess it was the stutter after I moved my hands away and I just wasn't moving. So it kind of like, anyway, whatever. But I was going to say that, you know, when I was growing up, I loved to draw. And then when I became an artist professionally, I didn't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like once you have to do it, So this is the thing about turning a hobby into a job, is that a hobby is fun because it's what you do to get away from work. You can enjoy it in a way that provides you that relaxation, that revitalization and whatnot. But as soon as you have to do it with a deadline or something like that, then it's no longer fun. You know, you don't even want to do it anymore. And I feel like with anime, all the stuff that I've truly loved that I've watched in the last couple of years have been things that I didn't watch for the podcast. My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan. I mean, which it's just based on the nature that we didn't watch those for the podcast. I think I would have liked them anyway if we had watched them for the podcast. But I'm just saying that.
But you enjoyed them more than you would have had it been
if
the
I had
podcast?
a time constraint, which is funny because like I marathoned that shit. Like I got done with that way. In fact, a couple of our podcast watch clubs, I was right up to the wire because I watched My Hero Academia instead. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, I just wonder if that's going to affect long term. Like, let's say this goes on for another year. How are you going to feel? How are you going to feel when you've finished everything in your collection? You know,
I go buy more.
Isn't that a good problem to have in a situation like yours?
That's a great problem to have.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. That's a fantastic problem to have.
Oh no, the woe is me.
But if this goes on for another year, who's to say that there will be more to buy? Anyway, so Pokemon anime is going to go on hiatus. The voice actor for Ash has said that she doesn't have any. I've got no work, so I decided to take a long vacation. So there's nothing scheduled for her recording sessions, right? So that's interesting. I mean, it's probably going to be a short-term thing, but it kind of depends on how Japan acts because, as I kind of predicted, Japan is like a fucking fireball right now. They're like they're going down flames pretty spectacularly over how they treated things because of the Olympics. So continuing here with this news, anime episode director Eiyuu Kuboyama discusses how coronavirus may halt anime production. So he gave some insight here that I want to read that I thought was kind of interesting. He said, people have been saying that some anime have had to stop just because of the voice acting, but I disagree with that. To be frank, closing down anime studios doesn't have that much of an impact, but if the photography or compositing studios close, the number of works being able to be finished will drop. Also, even though some series have been delayed from April to July, I doubt they'd even be able to come out. I doubt they'd even be able to come out then if things remain how they are. I get that kind of feeling, right? So, Crunchyroll went on to elaborate here. The photography studios that Kuboyama is talking about are usually the last line of the physical anime production, where drawn art is scanned into a computer to then be cleaned up and put together into animation. Some studios, depending on workflow, draw all the animation digitally, so there's no scanning involved. But for a lot of studios, anime is still drawn on paper and needs to scan in on a specialized scanner. While paper and pens are pretty easy to take home, a giant scanner is not. While some anime studios do this work in-house, some outsource to different companies who have specialized equipment. When asked further about voice acting, specifically about getting voice actors in one by one into a studio, an uncommon practice, or recording at home, Kobayama responded with this. He said, if you try that, you then have to disinfect the dubbing booth for each voice actor. And also, it's dangerous because the director and the sound director have to stay there the whole time. I feel like if they worked at home, the sound quality would be poor. All right, so that's just a little insight from an episode director actually in Japan, very intimate with the process. I thought might be interesting to note as we cover week after week everything getting canceled or postponed or whatever, right? Continuing. Beisatsu Shonen Magazine and other Kodansha monthly magazines delayed due to the state of emergency. So series like Attack on Titan and The Flying Witch chapters are going to be postponed. Live action Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken film postponed in Japan, which is weird because the live action TV one, like here, they say right here, TV drama is still drawing ahead on TBS and MBS in Japan. So the live action TV series, which has a lot of VFX in it, actually, from what I've seen, is actually still coming out like on time and everything. But the live action film is taking a little bit more time. So be interesting to see. And now that I think about it,
that could be something with just putting it out in theaters.
Yeah, that certainly could be. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense that they would postpone it because they can't get people into the theaters, and it would be like that cuck film that got $0 at the box office because it opened cucked exactly as it started. All right, so continuing, Nintendo temporarily stops domestic Switch shipments due to coronavirus.
I'm scared of that one.
Coronavirus infects Square Enix headquarters. So they use this clip. Aerith, this guy are sick. Maybe they're two-spirit. I don't know. Maybe Aerith has some insight that I don't have. BlizzCon 2020 may not happen due to current pandemic. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
ESRB and PEGI will rate video games remotely due to coronavirus measures. Did you guys actually have a studio or like a production house or whatever? Was there actually a place of business? You're telling me that this requires more than one person who isn't just at his home, like in his underwear all day, reviewing clips from all these games that he's not playing that have the worst elements in it, and he just checks a box that says contains smoking, contains nudity, contains sexual theme, right?
No. You're overthinking it. The real question is, did they actually rate games to begin with? Because the NBA 2K20 or whatever, the thing is, they rated it based on the trailer.
No,
and it's like, are you kidding me? There was so much gambling prevalent in that trailer, but it's got a lower rating than Pokemon.
Yeah. Also, what the fuck is going on over here? All right.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, put the leisure pants on.
Prostitutes indignant at government refusing them coronavirus checks. So we previously covered this. I'm going to give you this little spiel as a little quick reminder here. Japan's prostitutes are apparently aghast at the fact that they are not included in government programs to pay people during coronavirus lockdown. Advocates for the nation's hostesses and sex workers are particularly enraged by the fact that they are not being paid the typical 4,100 yen per day that is being given to freelance workers forced to take time away from their career in order to look after children, while schools are closed in order to fight the Chinese virus. The government has been accused of discrimination, and one lawyer has gone as far as to say that politicians are telling prostitutes to, quote, die. The Japanese Ministry of Health has said that past legal issues have led to the decision. One official pointed out that similar schemes in the past had resulted in government funds being given to people with ties to the Yakuza, who exert a great deal of control over Japan's sex industry. So I was thinking about this from the perspective of, wouldn't it be interesting if the prostitution business, like let's just say, oh, they're telling prostitutes to die. Let's just say that happened. Wouldn't it be interesting if Japan's birth rate skyrocketed during and after the pandemic because of something as trivial as this?
Maybe.
I mean, if they had one baby, that would be considered skyrocketing, I think, though. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Japanese university students attend graduation through robots. Great job, guys. You did it.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's people in that area
taking photos and being 3 feet away from each other. Meter apart.
Oh, you mean the people at the ceremony filming? Yeah, for all the photos that are actually in this article. Yeah. Japan's sudden spike in coronavirus cases after Tokyo Olympics postponement raises eyebrows. It's funny how these eyebrows are raised now instead of when I said it like 4 weeks ago. It says here, Japan reported more than 500 new positive cases for the first time Thursday. Well, guess what? It 743 cases after that next day. So, yeah, things are not going so well for them, as I said. Untraceable cases in Japan raise fear outbreaks spiraling out of control. So you'll recall that Japan claimed, you know what, we have a task force that looks into every person you know and have interacted with in the past 3 weeks or whatever, and we find out as many people who could potentially have gotten the virus from you, and then we also follow up with them, and then that's how we're containing things so we don't have to go into crazy mode, right? But then they're like, well, our comedian guy recently died, and we couldn't figure out how he got it, right? And now it's like, okay, oh shit, right? You know, like it's spiraling out of control, as they said. Japan to cut lawmakers' pay by 20% amid virus crisis. I mean, it's the fucking least you can do that the government employees aren't getting paid the money that you gave them in taxes when you need it back to be able to ride out the storm, right? I think the U.S. should do this, if not more than 20%. Also, why is this article starting me in the middle?
Video.
Uproar as McDonald's bans black people from entering their store in a Chinese city out of fears they might have coronavirus. So once again, I'll just remind everybody who is, you know, anybody who's feeling compelled to pat China on the back. World Health Organization guy who said, hey, if I get the coronavirus, I'd hope it's in China because they're treating it the best. Best treatments in those hospitals. By the way, Taiwan doesn't exist, and I got disconnected from your call. Yeah, China's like unbelievably racist to black people especially, and even so much so that I found...
And everyone was trying to defend the people being racist against Chinese people. The China virus. It's not the Chinese
right?
people.
I know. As if the statement Chinese virus even means Chinese people, right? And not like the same way that Chinese people are called that because they're in China from China, right?
Like
anyway, so
food.
yeah. So anyway, I also I'm trying to figure out if what I just scrolled up past was somebody in body paint. What is this Daily Mail UK? Anyway, so about the black folks, I saw several posts on Reddit of people from China who are black saying, I've lived under a bridge the last couple of weeks because I got kicked out of my house or apartment or whatever. I can't buy food. You know, like that's how racist, like for all the things that people are claiming that everybody else is doing. Oh, don't be racist to China over this virus. It's not the Chinese people's fault. All that like straw manning made up like fear porn, like of all the people who are so racist. That's literally exactly what the Chinese are actually doing to the black people in China.
And no one's doing anything about it.
Of course, because the thing is, I'll give you guys a little hint. Do you know why Greta Thunberg goes to Western countries?
I'm already going to say no because I don't know who that is.
Greta Thunberg is the girl who spoke at the UN or whatever, who has the really angry eyebrows.
She's the one who said, "How dare you?" About this.
How dare you? Right. Yeah. Anyway, so do you know why? Do you know why she goes to the Western country? To shame them about climate change and whatnot, even though China and India literally contribute like 90% of all the carbon emissions in the entire planet.
They listen.
It's because the Western countries are actually susceptible to that sort of, and will actually give them money and do that. Like they'll actually capitulate to these things, even though literally if we had zero carbon emissions, even if we had zero, it would actually not make a difference. Because the other countries that they're flat out ignoring are so much worse that the entire problem, right? So anyway, it's kind of like the blame it on the NRA when none of the NRA members have actually committed a mass shooting, but because you're not actually going after the real problems, mental health, SSRIs and whatnot, the problem continues to get worse or just persists, and then you just keep using it as a way to beat over the people who had nothing to do with it, kind of thing, right? So anyway, but what we have here is that the reason that they'll scream racism at Western liberal democracy type places is because they'll actually, again, they'll capitulate. You'll have power over them. You can have that superiority complex going on. But if you try to do that to China, the same as if you tried to call for gay equality in the Middle East, they're gonna blow you up or say go fuck yourself, right? Anyway, continuing here. Travelers sleep on cardboard beds at Narita Airport while waiting for coronavirus test results. So I'll remind you two things. First of all, it's great to see that they've made a use for all those beds from the Olympics using now, right? Second of all, Narita Airport is the one where they dropped the contaminant. So wouldn't it be funny if all these people are having to wait because they keep getting false positive tests from the reaction agent? Anyway, here's the beds. Continuing, Tokyo taxi firm Mercy fires their entire workforce, says drivers are better off collecting unemployment. And you know what? I got to be honest, they're probably right. But it's kind of funny because the company itself is also better off not having to pay you, right? Like, this is a brilliant move, honestly. Promises to hire all approximately 600 people back after the situation improves. So yeah, my business where I work, they furloughed all the employees that work at actual like brick and mortar stores, right? Versus the online division. And I've heard in some cases that when you're furloughed, in some states, you can't collect unemployment because you're not considered like unemployed, right? Anyway. So this is kind of nice of them to treat them that way. Japanese boss punches employee who came to work after being told to stay home for coronavirus risk. I read the Sankaku Complex article on this. I haven't read this one, but we're going to go ahead and go through it just because it might be funny. Businessman is ready to literally fight the coronavirus to keep other employees safe. Off to a good start. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has declared an official state of emergency in Tokyo, as well as the prefectures of Kanagawa, Chiba, Saitama, Osaka, Hyogo, and Fukuoka, because a lot of those border Tokyo. Even in other parts of the country, though, the announcement has people on edge and reevaluating the level of caution they should be using in order to stay safe and prevent the transfer of the coronavirus. And Yamagata Prefectural Governor Emiko Yoshimura has asked residents to refrain from traveling outside of the prefecture. Nevertheless, a 20-something employee of a construction company in Yamagata Prefecture didn't just refuse to stay home, but went all the way over the border to Sendai, a Miyagi prefecture, on his day off. To Sendai in Miyagi Prefecture on his day off. Because of that, his manager told him to stay home from work as a precaution against potentially spreading infection to his coworkers and anyone else he could come into contact with along the way. However, the employee ignored the order and showed up at a job site. in Yamagata's Sakata City on Wednesday. After the manager, who's 46 years old, found out, he issued an on-site reprimand to the younger employee by punching him in the face and striking him in the head. Utsukare-sama, which this means like it's a weird word, doesn't quite translate well. It kind of means like good for you, you did well, like it's like you look tired, that's great, or something like that. It means like when you visibly see somebody who worked really hard all day and you're congratulating them, you know what I mean? Something like that. Anyway, so given the importance of social distancing in the current health climate and the younger man's repeated refusal to practice it, the manager's anger is understandable, and health officials would likely applaud his sentiment. The police authorities, however, took issue with his actions and placed him under arrest. So it's probably not a good idea to imitate his high-impact disciplinary style. If nothing else, since we're not supposed to be touching our own faces during the coronavirus pandemic, putting your knuckles on someone else's face, especially if you think they might have been infected, probably isn't very good for your health either. Police officers patrolling Kabukicho pressure citizens into staying inside. So this is exactly, I was just waiting for this to happen. Fuck, I was supposed to grab another another link. I was waiting for this to happen. We've got the police force. I talked about this. I talked about this in my first impression for the live-action Netflix adaptation of Death Note. I said it would have been interesting, especially if they make a sequel. Hope you're listening, Netflix. I'm using my podcast magic on this because I know they are making a sequel, and I just don't think they watched my video. It would be interesting for them to explore how the police force would start acting when the crime rate drops to basically zero because of the existence of Kira and the Death Note, right? Because police have this tendency, and all government agencies do this, is that when you literally have to justify the existence of your job. Because if a task force gets made to solve a problem and they solve it, then you're out of a job. So what always ends up happening is that the FBI creates terror plots that they go and stop, and then they pat themselves on the back, right, to show like, we stopped terrorism. Yeah, but we also radicalized that guy who was mentally ill, and now he's going to rot in jail because we whispered in his ear over and over again that he should do this thing, and we armed him, and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I was saying that to Duo, I was saying that it'd be interesting to see the police rather start to over police things on extremely petty stuff just to justify their own existence, and how that would create a weird dynamic where society would actually collapse due to the lack of crime. You know what I mean? Like, you could have a very interesting dynamic put forth in the sequel movie where you could actually see that in his attempt to rid the world of crime, he creates so much animosity and like violence among no-name people, right? Because it's like when it's a criminal and they report on the news, oh, there's that serial killer, I'm going to write him down. There's a picture of him now. I can picture him in my Death Note and he dies, right? But when you look out the window and there's Molotov cocktails flying around and there's like everybody's wearing a mask, like not just these kind of masks like for the pandemic, but like the Antifa style bandana around the face, wearing a helmet, sunglasses, going basically to war with the riot police, so to speak, that would have been a really interesting dynamic, because how the hell do you handle that, right, as Kira in that series? Anyway, so that's basically what's happening here, is that not with Kira and all that, but because of the pandemic, the police have to justify their existence. And so they're doing that by, like, I've seen reports of the police going up to couples that are sitting in a park and saying, hey, you need to be 6 feet away from each other. It's like, this is my wife, right? We sleep in the same bed. We kiss every morning. Right? No, the city ordinance is that you have to be separated 6 feet, like that kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's what's going on in Japan here. We got them pestering people, walking around like jackboots. This is an enormous video. Jackbooted thugs. Okay. Anyway. And then we've got the UK police, who may start checking if people are buying essentials during the pandemic. So, like, when you come out the store, get ready for them to look in your bag, stop and frisk to find out, hey, you just bought a bunch of chocolate, or you just bought a bunch of alcohol. That's not essential. I don't know,
Why are they punishing the purchaser if it's the store that needs to restrict what they sell?
Let's read what this says. Fearing further spread of the coronavirus in the United Kingdom, or perhaps latching on to convenient moment of vulnerability, multiple police forces in the country have decided to tighten their net surveillance and control over the populace. Now, you guys remember, I just want to remind you, we've talked previously on the podcast about the Sybil system from Psychopaths, that they're trying to implement something to that effect in
the UK.
Hello there, young one. Thank you for interrupting me. Do you want to be on this stream for a second, or you just want to wreak havoc? She just wants to wreak havoc. Give me a second. Oh, you want the whiskey barrel? You can take that. You want to take that outside?
Yeah.
You're giving your daughter whiskey?
It's in the box. Come on, Coco. Take the whiskey. Plus,
you found a
Japanese toy. You can have that, Coco.
Never thought that.
Thank you.
If we don't have the next podcast, the anime collector has been arrested by Child Protective Services.
I wonder why he doesn't
Don't even
have-
joke about that. All right. Child Protective Services shows up here. They're going to meet the butt end of a rifle that I lost in a boating accident.
That's the wrong end, though. The butt. That's the wrong
Yeah,
end.
I'm not a murderer. They're gonna wake up in the desert somewhere. All right. So anyway, it says here. As I was saying, we've talked in the past about how the UK is basically going full China in regards to how they're handling the policing of their
Big
citizens.
Brother
right?
situation.
They've banned guns. They're trying to ban knives, right? You have to have a license to
They're
be.
trying to ban knives.
Yeah, you don't know
All
about
those
this?
children with their CS:GO knives are going to be devastated.
Can you imagine CS:GO is like now a water balloon game in in Britain or the UK or whatever? It's like when you log in there, all the gun models are swapped, and they just have like the like the animations of the hands like flipping the knives and stuff, but instead it's like throwing a water balloon up in the air.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So anyway, but yeah, we've talked about this. They've been incrementally putting cameras everywhere. They have listening devices. They're trying to predict crime. They're like trying to meet with you when they suspect that you're going to commit a crime and like give you non-mandatory therapy and bullshit like that, right?
Non-mandatory aids.
Right. So anyway, one such example can be seen through the Chief Constable Nick Adderley's statements about enforcing stricter rules during the Easter break period and beyond. Speaking at a press conference today, the Chief Constable said a, quote, 3-week grace period is over in the country, and the force will now be issuing fines and arresting people breaking the rules. Strict measures to be implemented could include marshaling supermarkets and checking the items in the baskets and trolleys, he said. CC Adderley claims forces damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to policing the new rules, but that guidance on how to police the rules could be clearer. He said, I really need to emphasize the point. This is about saving people's lives. This is the really serious end of what we do. Bull fucking shit. The laws are such horseshit when it comes to saving people's lives. It's like, well, you're not allowed to work for this guy below minimum wage. We're doing that for you. And it's like, but what if I voluntarily want to work for him for below minimum wage because it's a part-time job or it's something I have a vested interest in succeeding, or like I'm working for like one of my kids' freshly started companies, something like that, right? And it's like, but if you have marijuana, we're going to lock you up and put you in prison forever because you could have ruined your life with drugs. So we're going to throw you out in prison for years of your life so you don't ruin it with you know what I mean? Like, that's such bullshit. The role of police is to preserve lives and protect property, and we have to do that, and we will do that. He further threatened that if people continue to break the new laws, police oversight will become much stricter, even going as far as issuing roadblocks and checking people's shopping if they really bought essential items. If things don't improve and we don't get the compliance we would expect, then the next stage will be roadblocks, and it will be stopping people to ask why they are going, where they are going. This is about reasonableness. Yeah, really. And if people are not reasonable in terms of the journeys and the trips they are taking, they are going to fall foul of the law. We will not at this stage be setting up roadblocks. We will not at this stage start to marshal supermarkets and checking items in baskets and trolleys to see whether it is legitimate. It is a legitimate necessary item. But again, be under no illusion. If people do not heed the warnings and the pleas I'm making today, we will start to do that. Adderley concluded by saying that the difference between an essential item and necessity is highly debatable and up to interpretation, clearly expressing a desire to police the people. On the clarity of government guidance on policing the regulations, Mr. Adderley said the law itself, in terms of the 5 or 6 points that have come out in terms of the coronavirus bill, they are quite simple in terms of the narrative. But the interpretation of that is very, very difficult. The issue about what is a necessary item only go out for necessities. What is a necessity? If we're stopping somebody because they bought a barbecue set or they've bought a child's toy, you could argue that's not necessary. On the other hand, you could argue it absolutely is necessary, because in terms of the mental health and trying to keep people entertained over this period of lockdown, that is very necessary. So the nuances on the interpretation is really ambiguous. That's why I'm saying to officers, use your common sense, use your discretion. I think the guidance could be even clearer, but it's where do you draw the line? The UK's police have already been criticized for being too aggressive with the enforcement of new laws during the pandemic. However, the peacekeeping forces have retaliated, saying that the government's guidance regarding the pandemic has been way too ambiguous. As of April 10th, the United Kingdom reports 65,872 cases of coronavirus infections, with 7,993 deaths and 359 people recovering. The number of those dead has been on a dramatic rise for the last few days. So I wanted to include something right after this that I forgot to grab. There's a video going around on Twitter of a guy who is just in his house, right? And he's in the UK somewhere, and the police kick down his door to make sure that there isn't a gathering of people in his house, right?
Well,
and he starts filming, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, of course I didn't open the door, because I'm not supposed to be within 6 feet of people like you without a mask, right? And it's like, the hell are you doing in my goddamn house, you know? And then they start, like, you know, trying to calm him down and stuff. Like, we need to make sure that there aren't other people in here. And they start, like, looking around, and he's like, get the fuck out of here, you know? So, yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that's going to happen, especially in the UK. You know, especially in the UK, where people are... where the police are given these extra, you know, opportunities and bills to enforce, you know, authoritarian, totalitarian control over people, you know? Anyway, continuing here. Here's some medical clothing sent from China that just arrived in France, according to the street. Come on. This is a video. I don't know why it's not loading.
Looks like Cinderella's gown.
So this kind of goes back to the masks that the guy was stepping on and soiling. We were talking about last podcast or whatever.
Pretty worthless stuff.
Yeah. So basically, again, and this kind of thing is, think about it. So why did China not tell anybody about what was happening? Like, they could have prevented this from being a global pandemic and contained it just to China. Why didn't they tell people? It's because they had all these supplies on ships that they manufacture that were going out of the country that they recalled so that they could use them. So what do we have here is obviously the shit that didn't make it past the quality assurance. Like, they're sending them the reject products to everybody else. Right? Anyway, continuing here. The U.S. becomes the first country to record over 2,000 coronavirus deaths in the last 24 hours. It is also approaching 500,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Now, I got to say, this is a big win, because I had zero faith whatsoever that we were going to be under 1 million cases by now. Confirmed cases, meaning that there's probably 3 or 4 million out there. You know what I mean? I thought we were going to be way worse off. So I got to give President Trump like a round of applause for the effort he has made, because I fully expected us to be like upside down with
which week keeps changing this.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, I'm so sick of all of the government. I say we just we put the government on lockdown and go about our lives from now on. How's that sound?
That sounds terrible.
Continuing here. So according to CBS News, which of course I don't trust at all, images show mass burials at New York City Public Cemetery as city shortens the deadline for claiming the dead. So basically, they're claiming that so many people are dying in New York, which, by the way, just to be clear, New York alone has more confirmed cases of the coronavirus than any other country on the planet. Okay? There's over 100,000 cases confirmed in New York. So they're claiming that they're having to put out these mass graves because so many people are dying that like families aren't claiming them. They don't even know who they are, homeless off the street, whatever. People that like they're taking people in that quickly. I don't know if I believe all this, especially because in the video you see the guys have masks and then they don't have masks, and then it's like, come on, guys. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what to believe anymore. It's always been like this. This has been like I talked to my pest guy today when he was here. He thinks this whole thing is a big hoax. He knows people specifically that have died from it, but he thinks that that this whole thing is just a big, well, actually, what he said was he thinks that China created this virus and unleashed it on the world on purpose as a retaliation for the tariffs and shit that we put on them, right? That we hurt them financially, so they are destroying our economy. I don't know that I would agree with that. I definitely think it was a deliberate generated man-made virus. Like, obviously, I think that's pretty much undeniable at this point. But yeah, I just I don't know if it was a deliberate. Like, I mean, do you cut off your nose to spite your face? Kind of like we're all going down together. It just seems like they're having a pretty bad time of it as well. Anyway, so continuing here, Eric Feigelding, that's a name. That's quite the name right there, man. Said, killing T cells. This could be extremely bad. Researchers in China, who again, these are the same researchers allegedly who said that Asian males are 5 times more likely to get coronavirus. Caucasians are almost immune. Right? How's that working out for us? Researchers in China and the U.S. and the U.S. I don't know anymore. Researchers in China and the U.S. find that SARS-CoV-2, which is COVID-19, it's actually the virus that causes COVID-19, can destroy the T cells that are supposed to protect the body from harmful invaders. This was not true of SARS-1 or MERS. So basically, as the article was titled, he's linking, COVID-19 may attack immune system like HIV. Doctors fear. So, as Mr. Medicare put it, airborne AIDS. That's what this is. So yeah, that's fantastic, right? I don't know though. I don't know what to believe. I think that a part of me, and I'm going to give you an extreme example or an extreme scenario. I think that the reality is somewhere in the middle, right? I think that we are grossly overstating how bad it is in the United States in a lot of states. New York, we should just Looney Tunes saw that off into the ocean, like they did with California and stuff and Texas in certain cartoons. Just take a big saw that thing off, let it drift out into the ocean. Maybe it'll land at China and reinfect everybody over there as some delicious karma. But the rest of the country isn't really that bad. I think that they're really blowing it out of proportion, but I think that the reason they're blowing it out of proportion is because they fully expect it to get that bad. So by treating it as though it is already that bad right now, then they're hoping to slow the descent, right? And get people to take precautions that that they otherwise wouldn't take unless they looked on the news and said, oh, look at these mass graves and what, like, you know what I mean? However, if ever you proved that they were lying about that, then it has the exact opposite effect and you accelerate that problem because people don't trust you anymore, which I think that if we've learned one thing from this, it's that all of the experts that are supposed to have all this under control are bought and paid for, selling us out. World Health Organization is in China's pocket, right? All that shit is it's complete bull, right? We got like people in the CDC telling us not to buy masks because the medical industry are the ones who need it right now. They're telling you, well, here's the thing: masks aren't actually going to save you, so you shouldn't use them. Which I was hearing Eric Weinstein, I think, on one of Joe Rogan's podcasts recently talking about it. And he was saying that's like saying, well, if you were in a car and you had your seatbelt on and you drove into a lake or something, that seatbelt might prevent you from escaping and you'll die. So we should ban seatbelts. right? That's kind of like what they're saying about not using the mask, is that like they're creating a scenario that like, okay, so maybe there's some truth to the fact that if the virus is on the mask, then it's going to stay on the mask all day, and perhaps you're likely to touch it later when you're taking it off and infect yourself when you think that you're that you're not in danger anymore or something like that. But the chances of you getting infected if the thing got onto your mask, if you didn't have the mask on there, is probably like 300 or 400 or 500 times more likely, so anyway, just continuing here, we've also got this little joy. So here's CNN. How can you cope with your fears? This is all about the coronavirus. And this guy said, okay, I have held my tongue about this COVID-19 insanity, but after CNN used my face to report outright lies that continue to incite the mass hysteria around this issue, all bets are off. My son starts blowing up my phone today saying, Dad, you were on the news about the coronavirus. I was completely confused. So I find out that while reporting on the conditions in San Francisco as a result of the virus, they used footage of me and others during Hurricane Harvey in Houston, lined up outside of Kroger's on West Higher near the Beltway. CNN is using my face to present misleading. Hold on, I can't see underneath that. To present misleading journalism that continues to seriously impact our economy and the everyday decision-making of the public. This is not okay. Do actual research for yourself. Get info from health. I don't know. The post is cut off there. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, once again, seriously, I'm so sick of it. In fact, I'm pretty sure I found another instance of the footage from Italy being used on to represent the United States. So anyway, this has just been fucking fantastic. And as I've said before regarding the, let's say, Gamergate, AnimeGate, whatever, if you claim to be getting hundreds of death threats a day, and then you finally produce one for all the people who don't necessarily believe you're getting death threats, and then it's proven to have come from a sock puppet account that you run, then I don't believe you've gotten a single death threat. Because if the only one you can provide for me is one that you faked, then it tells me you're full of shit. So this is why I find it so hard to trust the media. Because if you lie to me about something, how am I supposed to trust anything else you're trying to tell me? Anyway, back to the podcast. So, Manga Gamer's Easter egg hunt sale, offering titles at 80% off. This is still going on. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. It's until April 20th. So if you want, you can use code
420.
Yeah.
They want you to blaze it after.
I like how all I said was April 20th, and like your mind went straight there. Like you.
Next podcast.
Come on, you always have to have the meme's best interests in mind.
My mouse disappeared. Oh no, it's right there. It's just not moving anymore.
Taco Bell delivers.
Oh yeah, hold on. Shit. I remember why I wasn't using this mouse. Because the battery's dead. Hold on. I'm gonna switch back to the other mouse. Hopefully it's better now. I don't know why it's been so shitty. All right, it's good for the time being. Anyway, so you can get these. Anyway. All right, so you guys remember last podcast we talked about Faku's most searched tags in the U.S.?
Yes.
How'd you like to know about Japan?
Sure.
Publisher reveals Japan's favorite adults-only manga genres by prefecture. So here's all the prefectures. This means absolutely nothing to us, but I will say this. Okay, so first of all, these are subgenres, most popular subgenres accessed by users. So maybe perhaps that's why they're so much more varied. Because if everything is big-titted anime girl, then that's going to be a boring map, right? But if it's big-titted anime girl couples, or whatever, maybe it's a little different, right? So maybe it's a little bit more widespread. I was just going to say it's more widespread than the entire United States being into futas. But oh
god.
But let's just see here. So Shiga Prefecture is into couples. Ehime is into fukusu, or multiple partners. Oita is into, what they wrote here is girao, but I'm going to guarantee you that's gyaru, which is gal.
Tan girl.
The tan girl. No, that's
Gangaru.
what is Gangaru? Yeah, but the gal thing that's like a subset of the gal thing. They don't have to be like black facing or whatever. It's just like the gal thing is like trumping.
Orange tan.
Oh, because the orange. I'm like,
yeah.
Has Trump been caught doing blackface? Do you mean Trudeauing?
I'm saying Trump's Gangaru at this point.
Okay. And then we've got Megane or glasses, OL for office lady, romance, Shota. So, Reese, I'm going to advise you, if you ever go to Japan, don't go to Toyama because they're going to rape you. Succubus.
No, that's one way to get laid, though.
Well, you see, is it
telling me
getting...
I shouldn't go to the one place that I would want to go?
Well, see, but you're making the improper assumption that the people searching Shota are women.
No, that's true. You make a fair point.
Sex. Female. For some reason, there's a whole other one down here. Dark brown. Okay. All right, guys. That's a search term. Female molester, knee-high sock, kyonyu or giant breast, muchi or chubby, netarare or cuckolding. So also don't go to Chiba or Shimane because you might catch the virus. Or better yet, go there specifically because you could probably rule that town. It probably has a real bad Yakuza problem, like all the beta males here. Easily run. So then we got knee-high socks and tights. And then we've got Hitotsuma or married woman, Inran, lecherous, horny, and loose. JK or Joshi Kosei, the high school girl, reverse rape or women on man rape. That's the one you should go to, Reese. You need to find the specific place that has that and Shota as there.
And Megane.
Okay. And Futa. Oh wait, no, hold on. Bichi, which is the Japanese pronunciation of bitch, but in Japan, bitch doesn't mean the same thing it means here. I mean, it kind of does, but it just means like unapologetically slutty. Like it basically means slut, like ridiculous slut in Japan. And Hinyu or small breasts, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prefectures as opposed to. Was it Honyu? Kyonyu? Large only has 2. They see. I mean, I'd have to look up the relative size and population density of these places, but they like them tiny in Japan. So why are you guys animating them in anime with giant breasts? Why the big anime titties if nobody likes them? Right. So, all right, continuing here. Okay, so here we got Kickstarter news. One of them was an article I was supposed to read but didn't, so maybe we'll just skip it. So third editions reached their goal. They've got 36 hours left. It doesn't appear that they're going to make the 90,000 stretch goal for JoJo. And it seems like they figured that out a while ago because they kind of like, cut out the banner change, right? Of course, they need to change this one that says final hours, let's reach the goal since you already made it. It should have like a congratulatory thing or like slide in that JoJo back there and say, hey, we've lowered it. It's only 70,000 now. Please.
I think it'd be like a slacker backer or something. But that's up to them.
Well, hey, I'd rather them at least do it other than what we'll be talking about in a minute. Because I forgot to talk about the last podcast. So Sea of Stars has 3 days to go. I've gotten a lot of people at my work excited about this, and I'm pretty pleased about that. Still going strong. They've literally got 3 days left, and it's like they still have like all this apparent time here in the thing. So yeah, they're doing really well. I actually am very excited about this, and probably will never actually sit down and play it. But I like knowing that I own it. Anyway, also Kodomo no Jikan, A Child's Time. The campaign manager was laid off. Says here. Oh, yeah. So again, I was supposed to cover this last podcast and totally forgot. Maybe even the podcast before that and totally forgot. Hello. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I've been laid off from Digital Manga Inc. If you want to talk to the person who is in charge, I suggest contacting the president of the company at hikaru@emanga.com.
What
The
they
most
should have
effective
done
way-
was put like a very pissed off update that's talking about the company sucks anyway.
Yeah, I kind of felt. I sort of felt like that's what they were doing when I first was reading it. I was expecting a good
If you
luck
want to
getting
talk
your.
to someone, just talk to the
I still
campaign.
got all the passwords, so good luck getting
Yeah.
them back.
The most effective way to get the answers you want. Well, it sounds like that's what they're doing, because like this is the person who used to be updating often, and now it's like, hey, fuck you, you're on your own. Enjoy 1 million emails a day from people who are mad at you, right? So the most effective way to get the answer you want is to contact the person who has been in charge of the overall campaign since they first started, the president of DMI, Digital Manga Inc. I hope you guys can receive your rewards, or at the very least a refund. See, that's what I'm saying. That's like they kind of wrote it like
Wait, I don't think I remember that part. That
Yeah.
definitely sounds that
Stay
way.
safe, Lindsay. Right. So anyway, the comments here. So not an April Fool's joke, but on the 1st of April, actually it was March 31st, but you know, it's like right on the edge. It was probably the 1st of April when this person got a different time zone and all that. Yikes, we're gonna get a third Kickstarter manager within the duration of this Kickstarter, if there will be one at all. Stay safe. Thanks for giving us more regular updates. I hope that when the social distancing is over, blah blah, you get a better job, blah blah.
Can I just say that at this point I kind of just want to cancel my backing of this, because
right?
Well, A, it's not going anywhere, and B, if it does go somewhere, there's the
It's going to be because
at the
if it
border
goes somewhere,
patrol.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Oh seriously, no, you just send it to my house, and then I'll have to like.
You have to
throw
send
it
me
over the
page
border.
by page, subtly in different volumes of manga.
I'll have to
different
I'll have to
books.
go to the border. You'll have to meet me on the other side of the fence, and I'll just hand it to you or toss it over. Right. Anyway, so yeah, so this person, Linus Gustafsson, super backer, has been answering people's questions in a way to that have been quite informative. They said, sad to hear, but also completely expected, as you couldn't afford the basic cost of printing up 1,000 times 5 manga with money given to you to do so due to inflation from 3 years. It was inevitable that they wouldn't be able to afford to pay staff members locked up at home. Ironically now, my last hope for Kodomo no Jikan is that the comic market is hit so hard, printers have their prices, and the saved money from fewer staff means they can afford to print the manga and pay a company to ship it. It would be sad that people losing jobs would be the only way this campaign finishes, but also somehow oddly in line with how cursed it has been. Isn't that hilarious? We literally just read about Diamond Publishers or whatever in the last podcast. Right? It's like literally prophetically this person saying like, well, the only thing that can save you now is like, well, actually, no. So anyway, let me show you guys the other update, because there were some better comments there. So the more recent update was this one. Hello, I wanted to post an update related to the current pandemic. Since the state of California has called for the closure of all non-essential businesses and self-quarantine, our business/office is closed until further notice. So while we are able to work remotely, we are unable to fulfill Kickstarter rewards for the campaign we're currently working on, Wonder 3. For your campaign, I will still continue correspondence and post updates. Please keep in mind that this will cause an overall delay in the completion of all Kickstarter campaigns. Nevertheless, stay safe and be careful, Lindsay. So wait a minute. I'm sorry. Wait, hold up. This is from March 24th. So this is actually before this person was fired. Why is this update at the top? Update 42. April 1st. So who's answering this one? Oh, they don't sign it anymore. Please direct any Kickstarter related questions or concerns through Kickstarter. This will greatly help in keeping everyone more organized. Can we get our money back before you go completely under? How about a proper update or steps to get a refund instead of this crap? Seriously, I would love a refund since I've gotten none of the promised rewards at all. I already emailed the email in the previous update as well. Just want my refund at this point. This company was terrible before the global crisis. Yeah, it's a fat chance we will see anything ever. So let me go to the other one because there was one more thing I wanted to share with you guys that I thought was poignant. So in this one, they said, hey, has everybody gotten an email about the previous manager being laid off and the new manager being assigned? So King John says the title of the update mentions schedule, yet no schedule is present. Where's the progress of this project? What is left to do? So again, Linus Gustafsson, Superbacker, said June 2018. June 2018. Here's what we still need to do. We have yet to order the slipcases. Keychains are not complete. The overall book production, preparing it for print and digital, is not complete. December 2018. The overall book production digital is complete. May 2019. Keychains are ordered. September 2019. We don't know how to afford slipcases and printing. Don't worry, we are thinking hard. January 2020. We are refunding and paying printing costs for Wonder 3 campaign now. Again, this is the Kodomonoji Con campaign. Just remember, Digital Manga Inc. keeps making new campaigns to fund the previous ones. Now they're funding the previous ones because they are so poorly managed. So literally the only real hope for Kodomonoji Con is that enough people are out there that haven't been conned by Digital Manga Inc. yet that they fund whatever the next thing they claim to have access to is, and then this gets finished with the funds from the next thing. That's the only way we're ever going to see it. The fraud just continues. So anyway, they said February 2020, Wonder 3 books are printed, shipping them out now. So then Linus continued to say, in short, the only thing left of Kodomonoji Con campaign was for Digital Manga Inc. to pay for printing. And they still couldn't afford it after they downgraded the keychains to a cheaper material. They couldn't afford it after 6 months of manga sales. I can only imagine Digital Manga Inc. sells next to nothing. Yeah, so seriously, I think I speak for everyone when I say that I would much rather not get a fucking keychain or a slipcover if I at least got the goddamn book.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is strange because you'd think, okay, book of lesser quality for what's planned is released and they're selling it more that they sell. They might be able to recoup the money to at least keep the business going or do the promise that they were going to do.
I'm not convinced that this project was ever even a real thing. You know, I backed it because there's a lot of taboo stuff about this book. And I thought, you know what? I want to own it before it's completely hardcore outright banned. And if I keep it in the shrink wrap, I've got the plausible deniability. I don't plan on actually reading it. I would buy the anime and watch that if it ever actually came out over here. But I backed it on. I didn't even think that they were. I mean, at the time, I was hopeful that they would at least do something with it. But I've always kind of been a little skeptical that this was even a real thing. And the reason why is because literally, if I was on my own, no help from anybody, but I actually did have, I talked to the people in Japan, and I was able to make a deal with them that I could do this, right? They would provide me the art assets. Literally, all you have to do is translate it and then fucking throw that shit in a goddamn, Adobe InDesign document and send that to the printer. I could have done that in 2 months if the translating was difficult. I could have done that in a fucking week if it wasn't, you know? And it's like, this is fraud. I don't think that they actually even have this, you know?
Oh, well, they released it digitally, I think.
Did they?
So far. Yeah, that was in one of the updates from what I remember.
Totally reasonable. Take all precautions necessary to take care of yourselves regarding the coronavirus stuff. I appreciate the update, but I have given up now. Considering you couldn't afford to print our manga in 2019 and Corona ruining the economy, I don't see Digital Manga Inc. surviving this. Oh well, I look forward to any potential updates in May, as there will certainly be minimum 1 month of lockdown on California. All we've heard on this Kickstarter is that it's in planning. What more do you need to plan at this point? The page files should should have been ready to be sent to the printers for 7 months before your decision to push one. That's the thing that pisses me off the most, that they're utilizing future Kickstarters to fund the past ones. What is the reason for the delay? And probably the reason why is that the very first Kickstarter they did, they set the threshold way too low, because it's way more expensive than you think. In fact, if I ever did a Kickstarter, I'm going to find out what the bare minimum cost of everything is, and I'm going to at least double it, maybe triple it in my assessment before I even start the Kickstarter, so that I literally have to get 3 times as much money than I expected to need before I even get started. What is the reason for the delay then? Since the 2019 update, when you should start planning this Kickstarter, there hasn't been any information, blah, blah. Anyway, so I think we made the point. Anyway, so continuing, John Shane shared this next thing with me I thought was important. So J-List non-hentai branch, JAST USA, said there's reportedly a Kickstarter for a mobile port of Eiyuu Senki Gold. For your info, it isn't legit and totally a scam. Please share and be aware of this. And then somebody linked the Kickstarter here, which I haven't clicked on yet. Hopefully there's no nudity in it. Okay, so it's been canceled already. I thought that this was my my thing that shows the tracking on the funding. It's just like a Kickstarter thing. Anyway, so yeah, it's been the copyright holders actually pulled it down. Cool. Anyway, AAABBB. Oh, it's so I like how they say this game. The game plan for this page, AAABBB, is a PC game with sexual descriptions, which was released by our company in Japan in 2024. Why did you need to tell them that? Anyway, continuing here. So there's also this one, a legendary Tokyo arcade gets massive fan support in coronavirus prompted crowdfunding campaign. I don't care about this, though. I was going to try to read it and see if there's anything interesting, but I didn't, so I don't care. Anyway, continuing here, we got some interesting streaming news. I think this is going to be the big topic of the day.
Did you want to go over pickups first?
Pickups.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot. Let's do that. Who wants to go
I shotgun mine first.
Okay.
Because I have none.
Oh, burned.
On
Augie's ready.
All right, next.
Wow,
Seriously. Reese!
I knew you. All right.
He and I both are clicking the button at the same time, so it's double clicking.
All right. So one of the companies I would buy from time to time is Second Spin. Sadly, they are now out of business. So this will be the last pickup I would get from this third-party retailer, which you can kind of tell which ones they are through the pickups I'm about to go through. So up first is Ironblood Orphans, Mobile Suit Gundam, Volume 1. Whoa. Along with Volume 2. Whoa.
Oh, yeah, they're the ones with the sticker that says used guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's like, you're guaranteeing that it's used? What?
Yeah,
I think they mean, guaranteed to play.
Up next is Anime Guitarist, the complete series, aka a comic party new generation, even though it's not taking place in the comic party storyline.
Did you say anime guitarist?
Guitaries.
Guitaries.
I know. Well, I pronounce it Gataries, like Monogatari.
Yeah, that's probably how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Up next, I've talked about this before, Honey and Clover. Now we have Honey and Clover 2, the 13-episode series. So, artists in high school and their life as a art student. I don't know anything else besides shrimp hands. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good flip of this one.
I'm just getting disco cucked by Augie.
Don't worry, I got 2 more on the way. Along with Lupin the Third, The Last Job, which is a sub-release, subtitle. So
I love
Brady. I think Lupin's having it worse after
I love Brady. He just picks the most random screenshots for the back.
Oh yeah.
like the Shiba peeing on Lupin's head and
Yeah.
the walking shit in that one. Which one was that in the Napoleon's Dictionary?
Someone's dictionary. Yeah. All right. Up next is NG Knights Lamune and 40. So we got the first TV series coming up here. All right. Keep in mind that the OVA of this OVA that was previously released from Discotek and also Central Park Media, aka US Manga Corps, is side stories of what happened in the events of either eventually in this series. So I am excited to see this and prepared to laugh my funny bone off. Up next is part 1 of Seraphinin Vampire Right.
Rain.
Right. Yeah, right.
Okay. Is that a movie or is that just the series?
Part 1 of the TV series.
Okay. I have the premium. There's a premium edition and a limited edition of that.
Yep.
One of them is absurdly expensive and just downright stupid, like to own.
Yeah.
It was the complete series set.
Yeah.
And up next is Aquarian Logos Volume 1 out of 2.
And then there's the Essentials version.
We have One Piece Stampede. Ooh. Then last but not least, we have the Gigolo Dolcen de Pada.
All right. Is that a bootleg?
That's a
No,
UK.
Yeah, this is a UK release.
It looks like a bootleg UK. What does the little thing in the corner say?
18 plus.
No. In the bottom left. Yeah, that thing up there. What does it say? Kiseki?
Yep.
Kiseki.
Ew.
All I can think of, Kiseki, Konteki, the opening to Ichigo Mashimaru.
There we go.
All right, is that what we're going to do as our thumbnail, I guess?
Oh, if you want.
Oh, I've been wanting to buy off of Right Stuff that Vampire Gigolo movie that's like $1. But they only have like volume 3 of it or whatever. I want to get the whole thing if I'm going to sit down and actually watch that crap.
And that is it.
Also, I'm gonna address the chat in a second, guys. Just a heads up.
Okay.
But go ahead, Reese, on your.
All I've got is Attack on Titan Volume 30, Baccano Novel 13, and also Lupin the Third, The Last Job.
They can't make any more of it now. It's the last job.
Yeah.
Well, the reason it was called The Last Job was because the Japanese voice actors for Goemon, Zenigata, and Fujiko, who had been doing it from the very beginning, this was their last hurrah.
Okay.
And so the next one, they all got new voice actors.
So it's completely lost on us. Hey, Reese, can you put me in full screen?
Oh yeah.
I want you guys to guess what used box set I'm holding.
Barakamon? Zillion?
Revolution.
Yeah, it's like all that shitty looking like wear on it is all fake. Yeah. So yeah, I gotta say, I picked up Zillion, the Funimation box set, and I'm as we have already talked about, I'm digging the effect on it, particularly the it was a lot easier to see when it was on the
corner, the shelfware,
the grid. No, the grid on it that looks like an old TurboGrafx game or whatever. But the problem is they put this fucking sticker on it that isn't worn. Yeah,
just take it off.
That's that take it off and it tears, and then it's like, that was part of the design.
That's authentic damage.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's that, and then also I forgot that I got a box from Sentai because FDDNM said, "Ooh, this thing is on sale, but the shipping is outrageous, and I'm gonna pass on the sale." To which I looked at it and said, "I'm not passing on that." shipping was free for me.
Yeah, Haikyuu season 3 was on sale.
Yeah.
I legitimately don't remember what the other 2 things in here are. I know I bought 3 things, and I legitimately, when I got the box, I'm like, I don't remember any of this. Also, apparently, when Right Stuff ships Sentai packages, they don't go out of their way to put like the board around it. They just stuff it.
They
full
did
of,
that with mine.
They did that with mine.
Maybe they're running out. Coronavirus. Oh no, it's at the bottom. I guess that this whatever this box set is just too big. I'm guessing it's Haikyuu. Yeah, Haikyuu 3rd season. I'm very fortunate that it appears to actually be in excellent condition, which is great. So for our long watch clubs, I wouldn't mind doing this. Although I gotta be honest with you,
That season's only 10 episodes.
yeah, no, I mean I meant we could do the whole show. But the problem is that I watched the show in Japanese, and
You feel like you probably be.
I kind of feel like if I was to rewatch it, I would watch it.
You like it
new.
less?
Well, no, I like the Japanese on it. I think I would.
No, I'm saying you'd like it less because you'd watch it dubbed and you'd be like, this doesn't feel right.
What I'm saying is that I would, if I given the chance, if we weren't doing this for the watch club and I was just going to sit down and watch it with my wife, I would watch it in Japanese because there's only 10 more episodes from what I've already seen. I watched the first 2 seasons in Japanese because Sentai released the DVDs without English on it. But the thing is that so for the same reason as why I watched Beyond the Boundary in Japanese, because I want to hear her say "Fuyukai desu" instead of "how unpleasant" or whatever the English dub was. There's a catchphrase in this where Hinata, the guy on the front, says one more time when he's like coming up to the net and hitting it, and he says "muikai," right? And it sounds so great in the Japanese. I can't imagine that it's going to sound good in the English. And that's the same with anything. Anytime like fucking Dragon Ball Super. Jiren has a phrase. He goes "owarida," right, or "it's over" in Japanese, but it just sounds like shit when he says it in English, right? Like his catchphrase isn't as impactful. Anyway, so there's that. What else is in here though?
The only thing out of the Sentai still that I would have wanted would be like Princess Tutu on Blu-ray, but I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, the anime girl butthole was kind of important to get.
Oh,
Cutie
that.
Honey.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so Cutie Honey Universe, which I actually still need to rebuy. One of the older Cutie Honeys. Watch me pull out just the exact right spot. Oh, I totally did. Actually, no, I didn't. It literally crosses over. It's the first one on the next shelf here because I still have the. I'm gonna cover that. I still have the Essential Anime Collection version of this one. I haven't rebought this one. I need to rebuy that with the non-essentials one, which I don't expect to be too difficult. I also need to rebuy. I need to rebuy.
I'm just waiting for the OG Cutie Honey to get SD on Blu-ray.
Oh, instead of the DVD.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
the
kind
other
of
thing I got
inevitable.
was Princess Principal, which I don't think I had before, but I might have. I don't know.
No?
There we go. I'm like, that looked really nice for a second, but then I couldn't get it. Yeah,
It took way too long to get go on sale, so I bought the standard edition when it went on sale at one point, and then it went on sale like a couple months after. I'm like, great. So then I gave my friend the standard because it's like
It's a pretty good show.
that's the reason I bought it, because he likes the show.
How are you going to be shipping me that shelfware under the shrink wrap?
Hey, be careful. There's coasters in there. Heavy coasters.
Yeah, I can tell. Fuck,
Coaster,
I can tell this. If those social services people show up, they're getting that to the head. All right. Anyway, so those are my pickups. Boy, this is really annoying. I want to have this up, but then you've got my pop filter in the way. I don't know how before Passover I had this set up so that
have an umbrella open in your house.
it's not an umbrella, it's a light. Hold on.
You can see.
We talked about this in the last podcast. I put the wall-mounted lights up. Oh, I forgot to turn it on. I was gonna. Hold on.
I can imagine this as 8-bit. He hits it so much the scorpion pops out.
hold on. I'm gonna let it stop so I can move it out of the way.
Oh yeah, how
but
does
see-
Haikyuu set look together?
What?
How does Haikyuu set 1, 2, 3 look all together?
G.
One's orange, one's black, and the other one. What's the third one? Is that one black?
How do I go from G to Hunter x Hunter? Oh wait, I'm on the wrong one. It's behind my double stack here. Go to Guy World. Gundam. Haikyuu is right here. It's hidden. So I'll say this: Sentai is definitely finally using better shrink wrap. Where did I put the other one? Here.
That is going to be heavy. Da-da! 1, 2, 3.
That's pretty good.
Purple.
Oh, what is that?
The
A crow or a raven?
Yeah, because it's Karasu High, Karasu no High or whatever is their school.
Yeah, it's nice how it like takes flight slowly.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well,
Come on, right in front of fruit baskets.
it could look better, but whatever. Anyway, so all right, so let's get back into this. I feel like there's something else I was supposed to do.
Comments.
Pick that up. Oh yeah, comments. Thank you. Okay, so Otakusa wants to know who else is dead inside. I am after this. Damn it.
No, you'll be externally dead.
Okay, now turn on the fan.
No, I'm not turning it on.
Okay.
It's gonna hit the thing. I was just trying to get it out of the way so it's not on the camera. But the thing is that it's plugged in, and the cord only barely reaches. So as I pull it away, it's like lifting the power strip up off the ground. Anyway, all right. So although it is getting really hot in here, so I think I should turn on the fan. Wish me luck.
So we have 2 hard on the side.
Okay.
What are those other 2?
Okay. Anyway, so he says, I'm tired of this COVID shit. Eyes says, yo. You were here at the end of the last podcast, weren't you?
Yep.
I think I remember you. I forgot to check out your channel, but I wanted to. Because
I certainly wasn't here at the end of last podcast.
Cam the Critic says, what's going on? I'm a little busy at the moment working on some stuff, but figured I would pop in and say hey to everyone. Hey, appreciate that, Cam.
Whoa.
Hope all your projects go well. Oh, he said, I hope your stream goes well. That's kind of weird.
Thank you.
We were both saying this on the same wavelength. Oh, you already responded for me. Thank you, Reese. Random 11 says, oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Green Line 743 says, I watched Anime America's. Is Anime America. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Anime Appraisal is Gene's channel. Anime America's video on the Funimation controversy. So I'm curious, what specific controversy are you referring to? First of all, I can pull this way down. That's because they've had so many, right? Are you talking about the Vic stuff? Are you talking about the controversial dubbing changes, interspecies reviewers? Because you go on to say it was really annoying. Robin just read from the same generic website, and she didn't bother to understand the context of some shows. See, because the fact that you said that makes me feel like it's about the dub changes or something like that.
More likely, but that's kind of like all of Anime America's videos, but that's
I don't even know who Anime America is. Anyway, but yeah, I gotta say I'm super irritated with a lot of people who cover the Vic stuff, especially because they claim to be providing an unbiased look at everything or whatever, and they say like we're just looking at the facts, and then they slam Vic, and then they go to talk about Rakeda and call him Nick Racchietta, and I'm like, well, right there, I know you don't actually have the other side of the story.
It's spelled Racchietta, and the whole
but
time
he says it at the beginning of literally every single video. 2 seconds of research would have actually given you the explanation of how that's spelled, rather than just reading it on an article that's bashing Nick because it's an ideological bent against Vic. Supporting the victims, quote unquote, right?
All I'm
like
saying
literally
is,
the littlest amount of research.
All I'm saying is I disagree with his name spelling.
Yeah.
To pronunciation.
So RHYS said when we were covering the article about, so I was talking about how police have to justify their own jobs. Example said FBI made COVID-19.
John
Hopkins
Hopkins
said
got espionaged over to China. There you go.
X-Files music plays. And then when we were talking about the, what was it? The essentials, right? As RHYS commented as me, says, what are you in for? Buying condoms. Oh, like you're in the clink. Right, you're in prison. So what are you in for? I was just buying condoms and lube. Right. The example says sex toys are essential. Apparently, there are many countries that have more than 100K cases. Really? So you're telling me that the news article I read about New York having more cases than maybe it wasn't more than any other country. Maybe it's just more than most countries. I don't know. That seems right. Maybe you're right. I redact my statement because I don't know. Anyway, so. There we go. We are. Oh, script changes. Yeah. So the Funimation script changes. All right, we're all caught up. Let's jump back into it. So let's talk about streaming news. Who's trying to get a hold of me? What's going on here? Oh, somebody liked my video. Thank you. If you're watching, you should click the link and come watch on YouTube, where the interaction with fans is way better. So Sony invests $400 million into video site Bilibili to attract Chinese Generation Z. Sony, what are you doing? China's not going to exist in another year when coronavirus wipes them all out. Sony, like countless other companies nowadays, are intent on kowtowing to China for monetary gain, as it was recently discovered that Sony Corp of America will be investing $400 million in Chinese video hosting website Bilibili, the Chinese equivalent of Nico Nico Doga and YouTube. With the $400 million investment, Sony Corp of America will own approximately 4.98% of Bilibili shares. I'm sorry. Are you telling me that Bilibili shares are worth in excess of $1 trillion? Or and I guess that's only $1 billion.
It's a Bilibili.
That's $1 billion. Never mind. I read that wrong. Joining other tech giants such as Tencent and Alibaba, who also back the company. The statements from the company itself regarding the newest collaboration efforts. Sony Corp America, who's a wholly owned subsidiary of Sony Corp, will subscribe for 17,310,696 newly issued Class Z ordinary shares of Bilibili at $23 and 10 cents, 71 sub cents, or however you want to call that, per share, Bilibili said. So thanks for all those details. Upon closing, Sony Corp of America will beneficially own approximately 4.98% of Bilibili's total issues shared, with a lockup period of 6 months, it added. Bilibili and Sony will further collaborate on in the entertainment business in China, including in anime and video games, Bilibili said. Yeah, they want to get in there to help fund that Karl Marx anime they were making. Sony's investment further aligns us with the world's leader in entertainment and technology, which will enhance our capability to bring high-end content and services to our growing community, the company said. Bilibili was officially launched in January of 2010 and has since grown exponentially, with 130 million reported active users and encompassing varied forms of entertainment such as music, dance, video games, esports, anime, live streaming, and even allowing users to play mobile games such as Fate Grand Order or Azure Lane. So this is Sony Corp of America, not Sony Entertainment or whatever, the one that owns Funimation. But obviously they're still one of the tentacles of the giant that is Sony. And I think that this is further proof that... So we kind of talked about when Funimation got acquired by Sony. I said, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, so long as Sony buys Funimation, lets Funimation keep doing what they're doing, and stays out of the way and just collects profit, right? That doesn't appear to be what they're doing, because it seems like Sony...
Bilibili a couple of podcasts ago, though?
I mean, we've talked about Bilibili before.
Okay.
Bilibili is whenever there's a Chinese trailer for an anime, like Flavors of Youth, they had the Bilibili watermark in the corners and stuff. But I think it actually, because it was a Netflix original, but I think in China it aired on Bilibili. I don't even know. But the thing is, Sony is trying to aggressively capture the market in this way. And I think that we are going to see Funimation become less and less of what they were, and more of, as we sort of talked about, that you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain or whatever sort of idea, where let's say that Funimation used to be, let's just say, the discotheque, for lack of a better example, at one point in time, where they were licensing a lot of the hottest shows. They were putting out products you actually wanted to buy, blah, 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 blah. And now fast forward to everything is cheap and it's bullshit and it's overpriced, or they didn't even spell the name of the show right on the packaging, kind of shit. And, the changing the dubs, and like, it's all about mass market appeal and everything, rather than catering to the fan base. It's about catering to the world base, kind of, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Anyway, so do you guys have anything you want to say about this, or?
Nope.
Bilibili on.
Okay, nobody cares about Bilibili. Funimation streams Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl film this weekend. So is this instead of a theater release? I know
I think it was in theaters.
They had it at Anime Expo, I think. Yeah, last year on July 7th. Anyway, I don't care. It's news you guys shared, so I'm sharing it. I chose not to go see it at Anime Expo. I had done 7 first impressions up to that point that year, which you haven't seen any of, but hopefully we'll see. You had shared this right before podcast, RHYS. We hope you've been enjoying Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater. Unfortunately, due to the spread of coronavirus, our partners in Japan have decided that the series will be postponed starting with episode 4. No return date has been announced, but we'll keep you updated. So there's a little update there regarding that, if you happen to be watching that show.
It's a good show. I like it.
Also, I shared this just so that I could have a chance to talk about it again. Ghost in the Shell and Ultraman join forces to celebrate their premieres. So
Nice.
I don't know why. I don't know why this exists, this picture of them together. The trailer here is literally just a trailer that shows clips from both shows. It's not like there's anything special other than this specific image, which is clearly just a bad Photoshop comping of them both together, right? But I will say this. Both of these shows are full CG or whatever. They're not hand-drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are one of those people who's, I can't watch full CG anime, I just can't do it, right? I suggest that you watch this trailer, because the thing that most people don't like about the full CG anime is almost entirely how it moves. And beyond that, it's how it shades. Like, so in the first Appleseed, one of the things that's really irritating is that when you're only shading with, like, let's say 2 or 3 colors, it's real noticeable when the face, like say you've got a light source coming from let's say here, because this is where the actual light's coming from, except for when I block it, then you can't see that. When your face turns, you see how like there's a gradient right here that's going down my face. My face turns, that gradient kind of changes how it shows the curvature of my face. On a cell shading, that's really apparent, like really stupidly obvious. There are ways to fake that now, but they didn't have that back then. That's one thing people get upset about. But more specifically now, it's the movement, because they've really done a good job mastering the rendering style in a lot of things. But if you watch this trailer, you'll notice that movement is very much there in Ultraman, but not in the Ghost in the Shell one. So perhaps if you take a look at it, you might actually, because I think that the Ghost in the Shell one looks hand animated. Hand animated to look 2D to the best that they can, whereas the Ultraman one very much looks like it's probably mocapped, because there's very subtle movement in the arms and stuff, but they've got these very obviously fake cartoony thing, and the movement just gives it away. So anyway, I just wanted to have a chance to talk about this again and say like, hey, I kind of want to watch this. I still don't know who's going to be voicing the English dub, and I mean, I put them on notice.
Do you have Netflix?
My mother-in-law has. We use theirs because
They have
they've got.
Did you see my post in the chat? They posted an English trailer.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Who's voicing it?
It does not sound like it's on the Netflix site.
Okay, I'll have to check it out later.
It does not sound like the Sandalone Complex cast.
Well, that's
in other news,
although I will. Go ahead.
The card game Force of Will has a Ghost in the Shell collab. Like they're gonna release a set that has a collab with it or something. So
But why?
I don't have any of its cards yet, but I kind of want to get those.
So the thing about this is that do you guys remember the Laughing Man and the Individual 11 OVA? That's just a compilation movie.
Yep.
Yes.
That also doesn't have the voice cast from the
Yep.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're different. Like I
But-
think that one was done by Ocean Group.
Yeah.
But you can only you can't. I mean, you can tell that it's not the same, but it's like close enough that you could kind of let it slide. Like, oh, there's like one or two characters that are really obviously not it, but the rest of them are just fine, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, also Disney Plus is retroactively censoring their show.
Uh-oh. How
So
bad
yeah,
is it?
I've never seen this movie Splash.
Flash. It's about a mermaid.
I've never seen it. Okay.
Tom Hanks and a mermaid.
Yeah, young Tom Hanks. So I'm not going to show you this clip because I know we're going to get.
Copyright.
I mean, I won't show it in full screen, but because I know we're going to get content ID'd by Disney. But basically, boy, I got to pull a little faster so they don't get. So as she runs away, watch the hair.
She gave her a furry ass. Or
Yeah,
they
so
gave her a furry ass.
basically they clone stamp tooled her hair over the rest of her butt.
Oh.
Now, okay, I get it. You're Disney. This feels like an appropriate move today. This movie was rated PG when it came out, but probably wouldn't be now, right? But then I watched the clip of the original, and her hair is already long enough originally. Like, I thought that her hair ended here, right? And that they like clone stamped the rest of it here and comped it underneath somehow. But her hair actually goes like all the way down here in the original to the point where it covers up anything that would have been important anyway. Except for there's a part at the end where she jumps into the water and like, I can't tell if you can see her bits. But I mean, you definitely can't now because of the hair, which is why I'm using this one. But
Well, you see, that's
she might have been wearing bottoms, like is what I'm trying to get at. Like she like they don't. I don't know. It seems weird to me that they're censoring this. However, once again, this is an argument for having a physical library versus a digital one. Just
and
saying.
an argument for 4K so you can zoom in and get the extra detail.
on the bits. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, this is this. Okay, so they've got a comparison here from this tweet and this tweet, but this is a really low resolution, bad quality one, so it's kind of hard to tell. Like you can see how janky the arm looks, but you can see like the hair goes all the way down here, you know. So anyway,
Yeah.
Continuing. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba anime film opens on October 16th.
All
So
right.
it's finally got a date. Looks like it's actually being made or released rather. So anyway, continuing.
Quickly zooming now.
Yeah. By the way, I'll acknowledge. Random Alone says, I don't mind the CG anime that isn't trying to be 2D, like the Pokemon movie and Lupin movie. So I would say that what you mean is you don't mind CG anime that isn't trying to integrate into 2D necessarily. You know,
Or trying
like,
to imitate 2D. Like they're
Well,
just
see-
full on. Okay, we're 3D.
Imitating it isn't necessarily a bad thing because that's kind of what Kengan Ashura does, right? And they really succeed in a lot of the scenes in that show. Not all of them, for sure. There's some issues there, but it's more of a stylistic thing with how they do the line work in the shading is really lazy in some of the shots. And I think I talk about that in the first impressions, which I'm going to be working on shortly. But yeah, CG in anime always looks the worst when it's standing up next to
A 2D.
Yeah, especially one of the things that really irritates me, like it's such a cheap cost saving measure that they expect like, it's not that big of a deal, but it drives me absolutely up the wazoo. Is whenever there's characters like, let's say at a school and they're talking and the characters are drawn and then all the background characters walking around are CG. I hate that shit so much. But he went on to say, like the Pokemon movie and the Lupin movie. See, the Lupin movie is like the fidelity is so high that it's effectively not CG anime anymore. It's just a CG animated feature, right? Not just CG anime, because CG anime kind of, even though this isn't exactly an appropriate use of the term, would be to say that CG anime kind of implies that it's CG in the anime style or made to mimic the anime style, like let's say Knights of Sidonia, right? Whereas in a CG animated movie that happens to be Japanese, it kind of evokes like Shrek, right? Like it's more super high fidelity, more photoreal rather than trying to look like a drawing kind of thing. But he went on to say, I don't like King and Ashura. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But did you get to episodes 2 and 3? Because those are legitimately the best episodes of the series. And episode 1 is like, are you kidding me? Like, should I even watch this crap? I always have to tell people, like, get past episode 1 because I don't know. There's a reason they didn't start with that when they premiered it at Anime Expo.
Because they knew it looks like shit.
it looks so bad. I used the clip from.
Time to raise that timer.
Shit,
It's time to talk
there it is.
about our favorite show. Time to show the best. Yeah. All right.
Anyway, sorry, I moved my mouse to the left and I hit the side of my laptop, which I'm up into the back window or the back key for going back a page on the browser. Anyway, you can take down the thank you. So I used a clip in the first impressions that was actually from episode 1 of his manager, where he puts his hand in his mouth and the CG fingers go, and then they like drop down. Like the animation was so bad for that first episode. And also the whole part about him going out and hiring a prostitute just from watching the fight, his testosterone was pumping so bad that he had to go be with a woman was very weird. Anyway, so the only one that seems to do it okay is Demon Slayer, which I find funny because I haven't seen Demon Slayer, but I've seen clips of the CG in it, and I think it looks just as bad as the CG in any other thing where they use it like for the distance
really
shots.
It does
Does
look
it?
really good.
Okay, I have to watch it because I'm thinking about the CG from like the shots where like the character's off in the distance and they just threw a model there to get it done quick instead of whatever. But only a few scenes bug me that show. Okay, so you're probably talking about the scenes that I'm talking about. Anyway, we can all have different opinions on this, but we got other stuff that'll rustle your jimmies in a second about stuff we've talked about in the past. So let me go ahead back here. Okay, so Peter Grill and the Philosopher's Time TV anime bears first trailer out for everyone to see. So yeah, there's some somewhat not safe for work stuff here, but Crunchyroll goes and shows us those are eyes. Those aren't nipples. YouTube, don't give me for that. This is eye. Crunchyroll uses the storyboard so we can kind of show it. So anyway, yeah, it's the story about the guy who he wins the contest for like strongest, most powerful guy or whatever, and then all the monster girls want him to have their baby so that it'll be the strongest baby.
They want
and all
to
that
have
shit.
his baby, not him to have their.
You know what I meant. Anyway. All right. Anyway, so continuing here, idols get photogenic in Luminous Witches TV anime trailer. So this is a spin-off of Strike Witches, and now they're idols. I don't know.
One's wearing a skirt. What's going on? 3 are wearing it. 4
They're all wearing skirts.
Why?
Because, well, you can't have no pants. Nobody ever said they had to be in their underwear. or their Tsukimizu or whatever.
Hey, see, the answer's obvious. They don't need to be in their flight gear as idols.
What if they've got their Tsukimizu underneath the skirts? Does that make it? This one's wearing pants. No, okay. Actually, this one's wearing pants too. All of a sudden, the world doesn't make sense anymore. Was Funimation part of the production committee for this show?
So how would this relate to the military aspect of?
I have no idea. She's
like a stronger point.
Oh, I thought this was like a rocket launcher. I guess it's a camera. I have no idea. I haven't watched any of Strike Bridges. All right, continuing. So there's this new thing called Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle, right? And I just had to point out that the princess name is apparently Princess Cialis, which I think is hilarious because it's like an erectile dysfunction drug.
Yeah.
All right. RHYS celebrates its 15th anniversary with an all-new anime in winter 2020, and you had pointed out, oh, wait, it's a film. Brand new theatrical film.
And it won't
So
be
that's
in
just-
your art box.
That's just fucking, yeah, exactly, right? That's just fucking great. Thank you for that.
It might be produced with all the Kickstarter money it received.
You know what? Then I wish I hadn't backed it. Stupid asses. They should have made it big enough to fit an extra thing in there. If I ever do a Kickstarter, I'm going to make the box have a
so big
double. It's going to have a double thick Blu-ray case or whatever in there, just so that
even though
if
it's
it
one
needs
disc.
it, yeah, even though it doesn't need that many discs or whatever, it's going to have a double thick one in there, and I'm gonna
just
make
in case.
whatever the next one is going to be. It's gonna it'll come out with a like two cases that come together, limited offer, and one of them is just an empty case, but it has the artwork shrink down to fit on a slim thing, so it can fit in the
replace that
art
big
box.
thick one just so you can
Yeah.
put both in the box.
Yep.
No, you should
This
just
is
make
the
the
worst
box
thing ever.
like an entire shelf length.
But see, that wouldn't work because not everybody has the same length shelf.
No.
Well, maybe
That's
their
a-
shelf can't even fit 4 spaces wide. That's pretty inconsiderate.
Well, then they're going to need to put it on their coffee table. Anyway, so part of Goof Troop was animated in Japan. To spare you the details on this long editorial, out of this, so this is what this says here in this Japanese Animage. Is that the name of the magazine?
Okay.
Animage, I don't know how you pronounce it. But they bought the Japanese issue of Animage from a U.S. convention before they moved to Japan. This is Casey Basile before he spoke English, or before he spoke Japanese, rather. So which one of my AirPods just died? Because I got to charge that.
Does it make
I think it's the right one. It's always the right one. Okay. Anyway. Get out of here, Siri. Stop that. What are you doing? All right. Anyway, so he notices he was throwing it out. Like, wait a minute, why is this in here? And then this translates to, you can see the numbers here, 78.4. Out of the 78 total episodes, 4 were made in Japan. So there you go, random 11. More conversations to be had regarding whether or not like Inspector Gadget or
Cyber 6.
Thundercats or Cyber 6 or any of those are considered anime, right? It's like, anyway, so they said they go on to say like it's unclear if it was entirely animated in Japan or what constitutes it being quote unquote made in Japan versus the other ones.
I think one of the things is that it's made for a Japanese audience, which is why what is it? Valerian and Laureline isn't considered anime, despite being entirely done by satellite.
I totally agree with the premise, right? Of like it has to be made for a Japanese audience to be considered anime, because otherwise, anytime a Japanese company is ever related on some matter to animating something, it would be like it would get out of hand. A Japanese guy animated something in Snow White. It's anime. You know what I mean? Anyway, so
I think that was a particularly weird case though, because Valerian is done by a French comic adapted by Japanese people for an English audience because it's dub only.
Are you talking about Galerian?
Valerian and Laureline.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Don't worry about
It's
it.
Sentai.
Should
Yeah.
have
I
it.
don't know.
But
Anyway,
wasn't the Disney afternoon block animated by Australians?
it
So
says
when
here,
yeah.
the series was animated by 9 studios: Walt Disney Australia, Sun Wu, Kennedy, Wang, Walt Disney France, Walt Disney Japan. So that's a whole new can of worms, because I feel like they also animated Lilo and Stitch, the series, but I'm not sure. Guimarães, Freelance, and Moving Images. So anyway, moving on from there, though.
All this Aussie made.
What are you laughing about? Come on. Are you watching the fucking clip? I can hear it. Kino's Journey, the Beautiful World light novel series opens its 20th anniversary project site. Why does it need to have a project for the 20th anniversary? Why does everything need a project?
That might mean it's getting animated once again.
I hope not. That last adaptation sucked.
Oh, it's
I thought it
because
was
you're
alright.
ill-tempered.
I'd
Anything
like
else
some more.
bad.
Well, was it the adaptation or was it the story just kind of got crappy?
It was wholly the adaptation.
The selection of stories.
No, it wasn't just the selection of stories. It was the adaptation in general.
So anything else to say about the article that's written?
I'm reading it right now. So they opened the 20th anniversary site, Kino's Journey Beautiful World, along with the anniversary logo. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean the regular logo with the word 20th anniversary underneath it?
No, that's the separate logo.
That's the 20th anniversary logo.
Grand open. So it's going to have its grand opening is scheduled for May 8th, 2020. Then further details of various projects for this year, including the series' 20th memorial book, will be revealed. Okay, that's the key visual. I was going to say, if the book is just on that shitty ass show, I don't want it. Okay, anyway, continuing. So, Mayo Shimon author. Do you know what Mayo Shimon is? Have you guys ever read that?
No, I think I've
Is
heard of
that
it.
like the long animation short about
I don't know.
coattails?
Mayo Shimon author Masayuki Ishikawa trolls his daughter with Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba art. So basically, the creator of Mayo Shimon and Maria the Virgin Witch said his daughter suggested he should draw something along the lines of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba after expressing her doubts about things like Mayo Shimon. Here you go, daughter. It's the 4th and 5th demons of the upper moons. I'll put it up right in front of your desk. All right. So he drew them and put them on there. And then his daughter's reaction was, "Why the 4th and the 5th?" she asks with a chilly expression on her face. Ishikawa replies that he thinks they're cute. And his daughter retorts, "Not that kind of drawing," implying that she wanted cute boys rather than gnarly demons. Ishikawa concludes with G's. All right.
Kids these days.
All right, I thought this was just interesting. How to resurrect a water-damaged book. Japanese bath fans freezer life hack. So basically, she's reading ReZero, drops it in a bath, the light novel. And so her strategy is you stick it in a Ziploc bag, but you don't close it. Then you stick that in the freezer so that the water freezes. And then what you do is you stick it underneath like a heavy cushion or a dictionary or whatever, so that as it thaws, it actually flattens out. And it goes from, I'll just show you the
Wavy
tweet.
pages.
Yeah, so what you'll see here, like here's the book. It was all screwed up. Come on. So you can see how wet it was, right? Completely soaked.
That's why you
stuck
don't
it-
read in the bath.
Yeah.
Stuck it in this thing, and then here's the book before, and there it is after. Right?
Not bad.
So,
What about the actual quality of the pages, though? They're probably going to be.
Well, they said they actually go into detail in the article on why this works. It has to do with the fact of how it crystallizes when it freezes. That it actually, as long as when it's thawing, so when it thaws from being frozen, it evaporates faster than it can become soggy. So it actually unsticks the pages so that you can actually open the book again or whatever. So in the event that this happens, you could do this. Anyway, somebody said RHYS 0 Celsius. So does this mean the book is freeze dried? This is similar to what they've recently started doing in museums to help restore historical manuscripts. And she also said she put here in the tweet. What did she say? What's the line from RHYS 0? Return by death, right? Because I guess that's part of the power the guy has in RHYS 0. Which, by the way, we should watch at some point because I still haven't seen it. Anyway,
Beetlejuice.
Continuing. Okay, so I put this in here entirely to remind myself when the time comes that I can make a. Why are they editing in Premiere? That's weird. Okay, anyway, I don't even know if that's Premiere. That doesn't look like Premiere actually. Kind of does, but that also kind of doesn't. Anyway, so the reason I'm sharing this is just as a reminder to myself when that is a very easy shirt to make, and I actually have these shirts available now with the black collar and sleeve edges. So that's something I'm going to be looking out for in anime if anybody wants the shirt. And it says a chipmunk, even though there's 2 chipmunks on the shirt. So that's a shirt that you can wear.
That's kind of chippy.
All right, the Pokemon Company puts Sword and Shield cheaters on notice. So basically, players have discovered that they can quit online matches right before a loss. Doing so with just the right timing will keep them from losing any competitive ranking points, while the would-be winner is left without any points for their victory. According to the Pokemon Company's post, they are currently checking whether some players are purposely cutting their internet connections during Battle Stadium ranking battles.
Or they could, I was gonna say they could fix it on their end, so it's like if they disconnect or intentionally drop out, then they don't get the win, or then they get a loss.
It should be treated as a null if that happens, but whatever.
Well, it's being treated as a null. That's the reason why they're upset, because the people are not getting the loss, and the people who are winning aren't getting the win. So they're currently checking whether some players are purposely cutting the internet connections during the Battle Stadium ranking battles and internet-based competitions to manipulate their results. If they find that this action is being repeated in further investigations, they'll exclude these players from ranking battles in the future and bar them from participating in live battles or internet competitions. In some cases, the company said they may decide to, quote, temporarily or permanently suspend their use of all online Pokemon Sword and Shield content.
If there's like a warning screen or a screen that has like some person in this Pokemon setting dressed up as Mr. Rossetti.
Yeah, I was going to say, all they need to do is when you plug the internet back in, Mr. Rossetti just has to annoy the shit out of you.
He doesn't annoy you. It is great. He psychs the people out thinking that you believe the file or...
ESRB is now indicating whether games have loot boxes. So finally, when you look at the back of the box of the game you're buying for your kid, it says contains sexual themes and purchasable in-game content. So that's, I mean, in-game purchases, right? So that's kind of nice, right? I mean, I don't think I've actually ever played a game that even has a loot box in it. Come to think of it.
Well, yeah, because PS2 era, they didn't even have, they barely had online.
Yeah, so I've legitimately not played any games because they don't have loot boxes in the PC version of Minecraft, at least. So anyway,
no, that's all for the
played
mobile.
A game like that.
But everyone's reacting to this as what is it? That they've done such a poor job at articulating why that's a warning to parents, because it just says, "Oh, contains in-game purchases." It's like, what?
You know, see, this is so. On the one hand, I think to myself, you know, as a parent who grew up with games, I know to be suspicious or whatever, you know, like
that could be
careful,
that's
right?
so vague though, because it could be
no, hear me out. I'm just saying, as a parent who grew up with games, I know that when it comes to games, there is some controversial content or whatever in it that I wouldn't want my kids to play or see, right? But if I think back to when I was a kid and my parents were growing up and their games were Pong and Centipede, then yeah, like there was a time when ESRB was super important. So I shudder to think, what is the thing going to be that's going to be that for my kids' generation, where I'm completely out of the loop, you know? Anyway, Resident Evil 3 Remake sells millions in just 5 days. So there you go. Sold millions in just 5 days, but still trailing the pace of last year's remake. So I think they're at half the sales, which, I mean, on the one hand, I think, oh, sold millions in just 5 days. I was like, yeah, well, everybody's stuck on lockdown. They got to play something, right? But then also, but trails pace of last year's remake is like, well, I don't know. But then again, there's another remake that, oh, shit. That was supposed to segue into this one. There's another remake that just came out that people are also buying, but we'll come back to that in a second. So Capcom is working. So I'm going to click away. I want to scroll past this disgusting image on the Sankaku Complex article. Just going to scroll right past that so we don't actually have to see that when I talk about that article. All right, so Capcom is working on a Resident Evil 4 remake as per reports. So publication site Video Games Chronicle and Nibel are both reporting that Capcom and M2 are working on a Resident Evil 4 remake. The upcoming title has been in development ever since 2018 and has a release window planned for 2022. For the most part, website VideoGamesChronicle.com has a somewhat decent and notable track record when it comes to rumors. For instance, the website made mention back on December 10, 2019, that former Platinum Games CEO Tsutomu Teranishi, in a way, returned to Capcom with ex-Platinum Games ex-Platinum Games devs to start a new company, M2. As of March 30th, 2020, the publication site carefully looked over Capcom's Resident Evil 3 remake and its credits. Looked over Capcom's Resident Evil 3 remake and its credits, and found that it names a handful of M2 employees, including designer Teranishi, as well as a couple of ex-Platinum Game devs. As of today, VideoGamesChronicle.com and Twitter leaker Nibel both note that Capcom and M2 are working on a Resident Evil 4 remake, which is set to go live sometime in 2022. So, report, Resident Evil 4 remake in the works, development led by M2, same people behind Resident Evil 3 remake, with support from Capcom slated for 2022. Capcom apparently has announced Resident Evil 4 mastermind Shinji Mikami to direct the remake, but he declined. Has approached Resident Evil 4 mastermind Shinji Mikami to direct the remake, but he declined. Also, M2 actually stands for Mikami Minami, ex-Platinum Games head, but looks like that did not pan out, right? This is in response to this person saying, I understand Shinji Mikami turned down an approach to lead the project, but has provided informal advice to the game's leadership. Mikami is close friends with M2 founder Minami. So anyway, the reason for this, according to the publication site, is that Resident Evil 4 is Capcom's, quote, highest rated game of all time, as per review aggregation sites, with sales totaling 7.5 million copies across multiple platforms. The website reports that this new Resident Evil 4 remake has, quote, entered full production with an, quote, estimated release window in 2022. Development is led by the Osaka-based M2 company, as mentioned above, with Teranishi's partner Tatsuya Minami heading up the studio. This news didn't go down all that well with some gamers, with lack of entertainment taking digs at the possibility of how the remake might turn out. So this is, I think, V, if you guys know V from like Sargon and all them, talking about this. And he talks about Resident Evil 4 sucking because it's not a horror game. And that's very true. It's an action game. And I think that the series diverted from the horror with Resident Evil 4. And
why do people like Resident Evil 4 pretty much the most then?
Because it's so fucking satisfying to play. Because I know
playing... it is. I'm just saying that it's funny that the same crowd that's saying, "Oh, horror best is its roots and that's the best part of it," yet Resident Evil 4, the pinnacle, so to say, is it's not horror. It's like, shut up.
See, the thing about Resident Evil 4 is like literally from the very first opening part of the game where you go up that You go upstairs in that
To the
house,
village.
and then you fucking walk over to the window at the top of the stairs. You could literally fucking flip out of it onto the ground from the second floor. I mean, right there, you're like, well, that was really fun, you know. And then you shoot the Las Plagas, and then run up and like fucking kick their heads off with like a sweeping back kick that knocks them around. The game is so much fun and so satisfying to play as Leon with that kick. Like, literally, that was the reason I think that game is fun. See, because when you play as Chris Redfield in Resident Evil 5, all you have is, like, the Falcon Punch, right? Which, I mean, it's fun, but it ain't the Leon kick, right? And the sound design, when you hit those zombies, when you swipe kick them, the noise that makes, the slight rumble to the rumble pack or whatever is so fun. Anyway, so much like Resident Evil 3's remake development, Capcom's internal teams and other external studios will, quote, lend support when it comes to helping with Resident Evil 4 remake. Lastly, Shinji Mikami, the original game director for the 2005 game, declined to lead the project himself. However, he has provided, quote, informal advice on its direction. After the mess that is Resident Evil 3 remake, I'm not holding my breath, blah, 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 blah. It's all Ethan's thoughts on it. So V made another point in this video, which I didn't watch the whole thing of, but I just got the gist of it. He said that in Resident Evil 3 remake, there are zombie models that seem to be designed to look like the Las Plagas from Resident Evil 4, and he was speculating that they threw them in there so that they could spend the development of Resident Evil 3 on making some assets that they plan to use for the Resident Evil 4 remake to save money and all that, which would be fine. I wouldn't mind that if they hadn't like decreased the gore and like literally just taken stuff that they put in the Resident Evil 2 remake out. Like, you already developed that technology and all that shit. Why isn't it there?
Wouldn't that be as easy as turning a switch on?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about like when in Resident Evil 2 remake, apparently when you shoot the zombie in the leg will come off. And then the leg model will stay there behind the zombie as it adapts and starts like.
Well, yeah, all I'm saying is that you copy and paste that and then just apply it to.
No, they definitely went in there and deliberately took it out for the Resident Evil 3 remake, is what I'm saying. In that one, just for anybody who's unfamiliar, if you shoot the leg, yeah, it comes off, but then the piece that came off just disappears as soon as it's gone. Like, it doesn't stay behind and all that stuff. We covered that in previous podcast. Mm-hmm. All right. So about the Resident Evil 4 remake, which I don't want to show Ashley's armpit because it's disgusting to me how that's drawn. I don't understand that fetish at all. So they kind of talk about how Code Veronica was trending. Like, Resident Evil 4 is trending in the United States, trending with Capcom. Trending like worldwide, fucking Code Veronica is trending because people wanted a Code Veronica remake instead of Resident Evil 4. Because as we kind of discussed in the last podcast, you don't need a Resident Evil 4 remake because the game holds up to this day. It looks great. For its time, especially, but like even now, it's like you could get, if you just gave it a new rendering engine and higher resolution models, that's all you got to do, right?
Well, it's much more playable than Code Veronica, basically, yeah, exactly. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. So anyway, also, why does she look like fucking what's that annoying actress who's in Hunger Games?
I know who you're talking about.
That Reddit thinks is like the hottest thing ever for some reason.
Jennifer Lawrence?
Yes, thank you. Jennifer Lawrence. Looks like Jennifer Lawrence to me. Anyway, they say, the sentiment is basically, okay, so yes, okay. This is almost in-game graphics. Tell me, what needs the upgrade? This? Or that shit? You know?
Yeah, the Play-Doh model isn't lively enough.
Oh, sweet. Yes. Give me a remake of Onimusha. I'm dead serious. I am dead serious. I will buy a PS for that. I will actually do it for that. That is one thing. Like, I've been paying lip service to. I buy a PS5 and play this game. I will legitimately do it for Onimusha if they did a remake of that game. Especially if they learned, because the thing is that Onimusha created dynamics that they utilized in other games, like God of War. And God of War did some of the stuff a little bit better and more satisfying, right, to play with like the souls. You don't have to sit there and suck them up into the gauntlet. They just come to you in that game. So if they updated it, I would be so on board with that. Yeah, so everybody's talking about Code Veronica. No, you can't just remake Resident Evil 4. It hasn't even aged badly. You need to give the remakes to Code Veronica and Zero. Why are you remaking games that are already good? Capcom, haha, money printer, go.
Say they should make a VR version of it at this point.
That's what V was saying, is that if you allowed it to have a VR version, that would be the only thing that would make it worth it.
VR,
I'd like to see.
Yeah, because then you can manually look up Ashley's skirt instead of having to use the scope, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that they're probably almost certainly gonna censor it. You know, like we were talking about. I mean, I never cared to look up Ashley's skirt. I thought she was kind of annoying, to be honest. But I'm just saying, like, I'm guarantee they're gonna censor it. So. Yeah. Anyway, continuing, it's all basically the same thing. Code Veronica remake before anything else. Rumors Resident Evil 4 remake floating around. That's cool, but I'll give Code Veronica. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Continuing. So Final Fantasy VII remakes Tifa and Aerith are wearing no pantsu. And by no pantsu, I mean that they're wearing pantsu that are made out of Vanta Black.
Oh my god. Oilless death snatches.
The black hole. I gotta say, like, they were like, oh, Tifa's not as well endowed as she used to be. I'm like, I mean, from this angle, guys.
Man, needs more pudding on the pot.
So, like, this has never been something that I cared about, but
You know.
I always thought this was like a non-issue thing. What is? Oh, I thought he was grabbing her foot and yanking her down for a second. I get it. His hands over here. Anyway, I always thought this was like a non-issue thing, but the more I have to cover this stuff, the more I realize how much apparently this matters to the Japanese audience that they're supposedly making these games for. You know.
Yeah.
I will say this. Do you guys remember that movie Sucker Punch?
Yeah.
Remember the trailers, yeah.
Yeah. First of all, that movie. Oh, she's stepping right on your hand, Cloud. Ouch.
Is that a fetish?
Yes, everything's a fetish. Oh, this especially ghost butt fetish right here. Anyway, so I remember I went to see that movie. By the way, that movie is god awful, terrible. It was such a letdown of an experience to watch because all the good shots are in the trailer and that's it. Just go to the trailer and you're done. Right, everything else is boring.
All the good shots were in the trailer. I think panty shots were in the trailer.
Well, the thing is that in the trailer they're doing like an anime thing, and the girl's in a sailor uniform, like a anime girl school uniform, right? And they gave her black underwear, which completely, if you're going to do a bunch of upskirts during the fight scenes. I mean, they've got to at least be white, right? I mean, you can do them. They could be striped or whatever, like you're going to do an anime thing, but they have to at least be white. Giving them black it completely defeats the purpose of doing it. As seen here, this is the cock block of underwear, the black underwear.
Yeah.
All right. So continuing. Final Fantasy Remake Classic Mode, quote, like a visual novel. So remember we had talked about how there was supposed to be a combat system that was more interactive, like Dirge of Cerberus, but then there was also going to be a classic mode, right? So it'd be like, oh, turn-based and everything. Well, here's what it actually turned out to be. Those hoping to play the Final Fantasy VII reimagining as a traditional turn-based RPG may be saddened to hear that its much vaunted, quote, classic mode has been described as so easy that it is comparable to a visual novel. Woke political blog Kotaku has taken a break from its usual fare and decided to publish an article about a video game. In this case, lamenting the easiness of the Final Fantasy VII reimagining. Most of the article revolves around complaints that the game's easy mode is easy, raising some questions about what the site's writers were expecting when they chose it. However, an unfortunate casualty of the easy mode's lack of challenge is the classic mode, which Square Enix devises a way of appeasing those who actually played the original and wished for a game that vaguely resembled it. Since the classic mode is based on the game's easy difficulty rather than the normal one and includes automatic attacks and defenses, it was judged as being so lacking in challenge as it to be like a visual novel rather than an actual video game. While the original game was far from the most difficult title on the PlayStation, it is likely that the longtime fans who are looking for 90s nostalgia will be disappointed to find that it is an example of the press X to win philosophy. Some may wonder why Square Enix failed to consider that those who are most familiar with the original game would be the least likely to need a reduced challenge. So I feel like it's worth addressing also that have you guys seen like people are taking that article headline from Kotaku and putting it alongside two other article headlines that Kotaku's also written that said every game should have an easy mode, and a game has never been ruined by an easy mode difficulty, right? And then they've got Final Fantasy VII's game is too easy, right?
They're just buttering it up, aren't they?
All right, so we've also got Doom. Doom's Twitter account celebrating their Final Fantasy VII remake launch, right? Doing the whole, which I've got to say, when I look at this, they actually seem to have captured the Final Fantasy VII PlayStation 1 a little bit better. I was noticing how weird, like, okay, so this was a, if you were to see this particular shot from the other side, I guarantee you it would look weird. Right? They put his arm in this position and his legs in this position to be more dynamic for this shot. But when I look at this one and how low his arm is down here, it just looks kind of wonky. Like his arm not being raised up.
And they made him have like chicken limbs. I mean, in the original, you see him have muscles. You can see he can actually hold the sword.
Yeah, I know.
Over here, it's like I'm going to tap the sword; it'll break his limb.
Yeah, look at how tiny his arm is. So yeah, I also saw. I'm not covering the other article.
He needed big arms to carry that sword the size of his body.
I mean, that's how it worked in Berserk. but yeah, the thing is that there's another article where there's an image of Cloud and Sephiroth fighting, and I got to tell you, the rig on Cloud's shoulders looks really weird. Like if you actually if I had it right here, I'd show it to you. But if you really scrutinize the anatomy on Cloud, it looks not so good compared to it was better in Advent Children for sure. But I said the same thing about. I guess it's just games these days. The rigs are they're probably more designed to look good from the not necessarily in the cutscene, but from the third person camera perspective. You know. The over-the-shoulder shot kind of thing that you're probably more often going to see. Anyway, so closing this without closing everything. Okay, so I've got some stuff here. I know you've got the right stuff thing up, so I guess I'll just let you handle it, Reese. Mm-hmm. So, Anime Architecture Book dives into megacities and imagined worlds from classic films. So they have this new book. It's available for pre-order on Amazon for only $40, coming out November 17th. What that said? Yes, November 17th. Okay, so anyway, they've got stuff from Patley Board to the movie. They've got like Metropolis, Akira, Neon Genesis Evangelion, which are just like pencil sketches. I'm sure there's more on the other pages, but Akira again. Tekken Concrete, which I will say this, the backgrounds in Tekken Concrete are incredible. I said the same thing with MFKZ, although you guys haven't seen that video. I don't even know if I can make that video, but
Studio 4Z or 4C,
Studio 4C's freaking insane at drawing backgrounds.
Yeah.
In Detroit Metal City, were the backgrounds amazing?
I don't remember anything about Detroit Metal City other than when he says rape like 8 times in a second or whatever. Oh, and him singing the Swedish pop or whatever. Anyway,
Swedish.
I would like to sit down and watch it again, but it feels like I saw it too recently. Fairy Tail fans select swimsuit for the game's inside cover. So this is for the Japanese, or I don't know, for the game's inside cover. I was wondering why they look like they were models.
Switch case.
Yeah, I was noticing the little cartridge or whatever thing here. So yeah, they voted and they got it. So I guess it's for Switch or Blu-ray or whatever this is, PlayStation. Why I didn't know PlayStation used blue cases.
Yeah, the PS4 does.
PS4.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Blu-ray.
Anyway, continuing. Rising of the Shield Hero stage play to release a no audience performance DVD and Blu-ray.
Huh.
So
That's
the thing.
at least you don't have to listen to the crowd, laughing, clapping, and.
I don't know that actually happens in Japan. They're not too loud in their movies, I don't think. Also, Justin Zavakis said, Ninja Scroll the series, this one was a mess, a million extras, masters were in pieces everywhere, Cyborg 009 style. It upscaled nicely, though, and we even recovered some extras from the old interactive CD-ROM. It ain't like the OVA, but it's got the same camp. All right, so now please go ahead and pull up your screen share.
Add the screen. There we go. So we've got the Premiere Steelbook now on RHYS. No longer
Best Buy bound.
No longer a Best Buy exclusive. You can get it on RHYS and Amazon, and I believe this is actually the cheapest.
Yeah.
When you if you have your God Anime, it's like $23. So I'm not actually signed in right now, but yeah. So that's that. I would recommend buying it from here, just because you're not going to get.
So I would recommend
bubble mailer.
Well, yeah,
it's not going to be sent in a bubble mailer, and I'll probably actually get it like a couple weeks early.
Yeah, I would recommend buying it from here and then using the Patreon exclusive tip if it is damaged.
Probably wrapped 4 yards of paper.
And then here's Ninja Scroll, the series from Discotech.
I wouldn't mind doing this just so that we had an excuse to watch the movie again. Because freaking Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust held up so fucking well after all these years. Like, I was dumbfounded how good that movie still looked.
When I saw the cover of this, I thought he had an absurdly huge chin and his mouth was. Yeah, I guess his neck looked like his chin or something.
Is this series as bad as I've heard?
It's not great. Greenline 743 says, we are proud to present winner of gay representation in anime Premiere. Now get it in Steelbook, now with more guy-on-guy action. So yeah, again, we are proud to present winner of gay representation in anime Premiere where none of the characters are actually gay.
So for Ninja Scroll, wasn't there a second movie? Or is that just
no, I don't think.
Are you thinking about the ripoff?
That never came out. We talked about that. That never actually came out. Like
Okay.
they never. That was like announced that they were going to work on it, but then I think it got canceled.
Okay, I've heard the news. but
Ninja
never
Resurrection?
No,
Yeah.
that's something completely different, isn't it?
That's what I mean, the ripoff.
I think
Maybe
it was
he's
called
thinking that.
I think it was called Ninja Scroll Burst.
Well, regardless,
It was like
I'm curious about the. I'm curious about the DVD ROM or the whatever
CD-ROM, interactive CD-ROM.
When
So
I
how-
saw this,
Lupin's getting a little. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I saw the characters. I'm like, I love how all the non-original characters look like modern, typical anime art style.
Oh, for Lupin?
Yeah.
With like the
But then you look
yeah.
at Lupin and all the others, and you're like, is this
Yeah.
the same movie?
They get actual shading in their faces.
I was gonna say,
second special for the Black Jacket Lupin.
yeah, I was gonna say, how is it going with the whole like Lupin jacket
with
stuff? Like, because it's like
not with the Erd ones. This is just a regular TV special.
right, but I'm just saying that it goes from like green jacket, red jacket, pink jacket, blue jacket,
This is why I
But
never
there's no
subscribed
series
to
of
that
that.
jacket thing.
AC in
I
this
want to
in the
say
black
this one
jacket,
starts out with the. I want to say this one starts out with the red jacket, if I remember right.
Yeah.
You just put.
But
You just put
I'm
some
just
black
saying, like,
jacket halfway through.
they did part 4 was the blue jacket, but then part 5 is also blue jacket, right?
right?
Yeah.
For part 5, this kind of celebrates all the other jacketed Lupins, because this one's still told in kind of like small burst of arcs. Then in between, it kind of goes through the different jackets. Like you see some pink jacket action, green, red, even some from the Italian adventure.
Well, there's a lot of discotheque titles that I was waiting to get at Anime Expo, and I'm the second that they tell me that they've canceled Anime Expo this year, I'm going to jump on Right Stuff and buy them all.
Oh, hurry up and get Konosuba. I'm afraid that one might be a hard one to get pretty soon.
Well,
Or
buy
temporary.
extra ones and I'll get it from you. Oh yeah, this one too.
Movie.
I want to see this in the 4D or the 4DX screenings.
Oh yeah.
I forget, is this a re-release on Blu-ray or something?
Yes, this is
Re-released
a new
with two
Blu-ray.
different aspect ratios, which
Yeah, it has the 4:3
The DVD
and
had both. Yeah, the
16 by
DVD
9
also
style.
has that.
Yeah.
The DVD release also has
Like
that.
Transformers.
I have a projector, so if I ever watch it, I'm kind of curious to see how riveting it will be. And then season
one, part 2. Yeah, so this is
season 1, part 2.
yeah, this is one of the other things that I'm really itching to buy, but wanted to wait to get at Anime Expo.
I'm itching to buy, but I can't due to everything.
Second
Because
series,
even if
So
there
this
wasn't
is
a virus,
this is
Amazon
Chargeman
won't
Ken
have it.
2.
not Chargeman Can 2, but
Dude, look
Same
at the
guys
cover
who
of
did
it.
Studio
It
Next
has-
second production.
Pull up Chargeman Ken, Reese.
I was gonna say this looks like the exact same cover art of a
Yes,
different
it's
one
from
they put
Studio
out.
Next. It's their second production.
See, it's got the exact same backdrop. It's just red and got almost the
It's
same helmet.
It's the same studio. Go
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to Justin Savakis' tweet.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's basically Chargeman Ken 2. All right, then we've got.
Rascal Does Not Dream of Dreaming Girl. This is the one that's going up on Funimation's website this weekend.
Yeah, so it's nice that you don't have to, I don't know, wait for the
This
quarantine
is an
release.
Aniplex of America. This is an
How much
Aniplex
is it
of
right now?
America Release.
40.
$40.
And that's still subbed, right?
Still subbed. TV series is $100. That's the
Sub
one
only.
of the Bunny and Girl Senpai.
Well, I'm glad I didn't see it at Anime Expo then, because now I don't feel obligated to buy it.
My pre-order from UK is like constantly being set back.
They're on to you.
No, it's because it's like delay.
There we go.
All right, we good?
I guess it's. Hang on, it looks like it runs in line with the. Oh, that's already out too.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I saw this, and I think to myself, people are actually selling this crap. Not these. Those look fine. I mean, I wouldn't want to wear something that said extra large on it.
Why?
But like My Hero Academia
for-
across your ass
And 4 separate posters on your leg.
that look like they were just photoshopped onto a picture of pants.
I mean,
Come on. Nobody is. It's for 20,000 yen.
$200.
100.
That
They better be good quality pants.
they look like ass.
I mean, that is the point.
Look
Alright,
at the
continue.
ass.
If
So,
it didn't-
so there's this thing called Tokyo banana cakes. They look amazing, like little banana flavored Twinkies. Someday I want to try them. But they were about to be outside of Tokyo, and then they got canceled due to coronavirus.
No.
Also, here's a Dragon Quest slime teapot.
Wow.
I can make a Dragon Quest slime themed beanbag chair on
Don't they already sell
Stealth,
those? No.
but it's Going to be
$200.
expensive. Yeah, it's going to be stupid expensive to the point where I don't think anybody want it. Okay, so remember we talked about clear files? They finally found an appropriate use for clear files.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Salamander Girl from Inner
If I find that, I'm buying it.
It looks like the Salamander Girl from Inner Species Reviewers.
It says Dragon Age magazine. They must mean
No,
Ishizoku.
Weird. Alright.
Dragon Age is the name of the magazine. It's not related to the game.
No.
Dragon Age isn't even a Japanese property.
Right. Dragon Age is a magazine.
Does your wife read that magazine by any chance?
No, she doesn't. But if she had a subscription,
She is
service,
now.
I would get this one. I just think it's so funny, and I can't wait till I get to read articles about the lacerated dicks from people trying to stick their dick in its mouth.
Oh, God.
All right.
That's not. Yeah.
So Studio Ghibli distributes beautiful backgrounds for teleconferencing. So let me just go to their website.
Is that for Zoom?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's for Zoom. So these are the
Don't
different
put
ones.
it in full screen.
What?
Don't put it in full screen
Why?
because they'll probably copyright strike you.
Copyright claim me for just showing that they exist?
Yes.
So there's that one.
Well, this is
That
kind of a
one?
shady gray area because they're saying, here's this for free.
That one?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm literally advertising the product they're trying to give away.
That's a terrible
Okay.
one for a House Moving Castle. That's kind of stupid too.
This is a better one.
Already?
Ooh. You'd think there would be more Kiki's
yeah.
delivery service.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
New toilet technology captures your defecation for your benefit.
I would hope it captures defecation. I mean, it's kind of
Toilet
It's not
technology
kind of
has soared.
toilet.
Toilet technology has soared to completely new territory as Stanford scientists have sought to provide the common populace with a more direct way of monitoring their health, that being through the tracking of their defecation and urination. Researchers at the university published a paper detailing a technology that would track a person's urination and defecation over time, and then send data to the cloud in order for it to be analyzed for the sake of health. Okay, I want to remind you,
Smart
to the
toilet?
cloud is code for somebody else's computer. Just keep that in mind as I read the rest of this. Over time, and then send data to the cloud in order for it to be analyzed for the sake of health, with the system plan to be added to smart toilet technology. The complete and utter violation of privacy that is the Precision Health Toilet has 4 specific cameras fixated on its being. 1 for stool, 1 for the user's anus, and 2 Euroflow cameras. They then permit the toilet to, quote, analyze user's urine and classify stool according to the Bristol Stool Form Scale using deep learning, end quote.
Jesus Christ.
2-factor authentication is used so that the anal evacuation is rightfully matched with the correct individual if more than one person uses the toilet by way of a fingerprint scanner embedded in the flushing lever and an anal print scan.
Anal print.
That way you know you're not half-assing it.
Co-author Dr. Songmin Park provided some input on the invasive device in a blog post. Quote, the potential for using the human anus as a biometric identifier is not a new concept. The famous painter Salvador Dali had already figured out that the anus has 35 or 37 creases, which are as unique as fingerprints. So he was a freak too. We're not alone, is what this guy is saying. You already like this freak, leave us alone. You know? It has also been assured that the user's data is not trapped within the confines of the toilet, ready for hackers to do with as they please, as it is sent to the cloud for analysis. I want to remind you once again, the anal cam and Euroflow cameras are sending that data to someone else's computer.
So it makes you wonder when you said Stanford, is it referring to the college or the Stanford toilet supply?
I'm pretty sure I read University of Stanford. No, you're right. Stanford signed it.
Yeah.
It's got to be the college. I don't think there is it. I think you're thinking of standard
I'm just
toilets,
waiting
not
for
Stanford.
this whole thing to blow up in people's faces for having
Pat.
pictures of.
I mean, come on. It's such an obvious thing. These scientists who all share this gross fetish decided to make this just so they could study people's anal prints, right?
Oh, come on, AC. You know what they're going to do. They're going to stand around the water cooler and say, hey, check out number 375. They have a lot of diarrhea lately.
This guy conned for supper last night.
One does not digest. Neither does
It is.
celery.
Okay. It has been assured that the user's data is not trapped within the confines of the toilet, ready for hackers to do with as they please.
Because they
It's
said
sent to the
it
cloud
is
for
assured,
analysis.
that means it's
It's
assured.
really fast.
All collected data, images, and videos in their raw data formats were annotated with respect to the user and transmitted to a cloud system through wireless communication. Dr. Sengman Park expressed that privacy is a significant priority for the advanced fecal collector. And that photos of the user's anus are encrypted by a hash function and stored on a secured device.
In plain text.
We unconditionally ensure the security of all photos and private information of our users. We unconditionally ensure the security of all photos and private information of our users are enforced through end-to-end encrypted data transmission. We have employed a template matching algorithm to determine the region of interest, the anus, which once fully developed and validated will be autonomous without any human interaction. So, yeah, okay. And I'll remind you again that the U.S. government right now during the coronavirus is trying to ban end-to-end encryption. So good luck not having your anus on the internet for everybody to see. The study concluded by claiming that the technology will aid in bringing awareness to relevant disorders such as prostatic hyperplasia, irritable bowel syndrome, and urinary tract infections. This toilet system is expected to have a major impact on health monitoring research, concludes the study, as the toilet enables longitudinal monitoring of human health with minimal interference of human behavior. So I guess this is the anal camera.
The anal probe, yes.
Probably going to be more used for medical uses than just public bathrooms. Besides that, looking at the toilet seat, looks like it's going to rip apart if someone.
What day was this posted?
April 11th, not April 1st.
So April
10 days
double
too
fool.
late.
Hold on.
That'd be funny if this were just an elaborate April Fool's prank.
Hold on. I have to check the site that they pulled it from. Just give me a second to I don't know what's going to happen when I click on track a person's urination and defecation. This is probably going to be scat porn on Sankaku servers, so I just have to double check real quick.
This is quite the fecal matter.
It's from Mashable, and it was on 3 days ago, not April Fool's Day. And there's a billion articles about Trump. All right. Okay. That was more than I needed to see. Final Fantasy Superfan recreates the Buster Sword in a single pencil lead to salute Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, there's these pencil lead artists and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm just going to open these so we can take a look at them. Oh, this is the one I was talking about, actually. Yes.
Have you seen the one with that's a train?
Yes. Oh, have you seen the one that's a chain?
Train.
Chain
Yeah, have you
link.
seen the one that is a chain?
Oh no,
Like it's got chain links that are like independently connected. Like
Yeah.
they carved it out that way.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't even know how you do that, honestly, because once you get to the part where they're connected, you got to be so fucking careful because you can't I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So here's what they are, real quick. We'll just look at them. So that's the one that he did, right? Which I think is really funny because they're he's done a bunch, but I'm just showing them to you real quick. So somebody photoshopped it onto this shot, right? And this is the one I'm talking about. Look at how weird Cloud's arm looks. Is this from Advent Children or Final Fantasy VII Remake? I don't think this is from Advent Children because he would have been using the Roku blade instead of the Buster Sword.
This is.
I mean, I know it's a photoshopped over it, but and the graphics look less good, and it has like the E3 logo or whatever that is, or Square Enix. That's what that is, huh? Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is from the trailer. But yeah, his arm looks real funky anatomy wise. Looks so stiff. Sephiroth looks great. Like he looks fine. I don't know why. Anyway, continuing now. I don't know what this is about. Accidentally broke it. And then he's got like Japanese text and everything. Like this takes a tremendous. I mean, how do you get that so flat?
And if you're
incredible.
or you get into a groove and trance to what you want to do, then you just kind of sit there and perfect it.
All right. So we talked previously about we talked previously about covering this next time Augie was on, and then forgot for like the next 4 times Augie was on. So we're finally going to cover it. Rare Fish Festival in Tokyo serves up dishes so good that oil may leak from your anus, which seems like I probably should have covered this with the other article.
Yeah.
Mobile Mercenary says, "Sup, collector in chat. How you doing, Mobile Mercenary? Good to see you." All right, so let's cover this. So the reason we didn't want to cover this previously is because it's one of those ones where they sort of editorialize, or not even editorialize. What is it called? Where they document their journey through it, and it's less interesting than actually an article. But we'll go through it. It's sphincter leaking good.
Oh god!
Damn, I love you, Master Blaster. That always off to a good start. See, that's a pun I can allow, right?
We need that on a t-shirt.
It's sphincter leaking good.
There you go.
Oh man, it could be said that fish are a lot like bands. You have your headlining acts You have the headlining acts that produce that. I think I'm supposed to say that produce a string of hits like the Rolling Stones, i.e., Salmon, and your sophisticated, once in a while tastes like Yngwie Malmsteen, Red Sea Bream. And like the music scene, some acts are relegated to the underground because they are just too out there for mass consumption. In this way, the Rare Fish Festival, Mezurashi Sakana Fest, is like the Ram's Head live stage of the Maryland is like the Ram's Head live stage of the Maryland Death Fest. And the headliner for this show is none other than Skillfish. So here it is. This is what it looks like. It's a name that lends itself to this analogy so well, I was compelled to try and make a death metal logo for it. Which doesn't work because I can read it. I can still read what it says,
Yeah.
So it already fails. The skillfish is known among gourmands, but very rarely eaten. To learn more about it, we decided to consult the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare's data sheet. The meat is delicious, but it is said that eating it results in oil leaking from the anus.
Oh, no.
Damn, that's pretty hardcore. Normally, anal leakage is a deal breaker when choosing a meal. However, like with a punk show where the singer starts punching the faces of people in the audience, there's still a certain temptation to go, just to see what it's like. Taking baby steps into this underground world of fish, we selected our reporter most accustomed to oily movements. I don't even want to know, but kind of have to know what this other article is titled. Try our crappy life hack for better BMs. Okay, great job.
All movements.
I don't even want to know. Okay. So we selected our reporter most accustomed to oily movements, Yuichiro Wasai, to attend the Rare Fish Festival in Shinagawa, Tokyo on the 30th of November. And again, this is a really old article. This is from December 2019. Admission was a steep 6,500 yen, or 60 US dollars, but included two free drinks, and Yuichiro was surprised to learn from an organizer that it still couldn't turn a profit because of the rarity of its dishes. Our investigative reporter looked around at some of the foods on display. Our investigative reporter looked around at some of the foods on display. First, there was the Bering wolffish, with a large head and jaws used to dine on shelled sea creatures.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Nice front teeth.
We need to get Mobile Mercenary on the podcast so we can hear his first-hand experience.
Skillfish, I think I remember my ass leaking oil before, but I don't remember if it was from that fish or not. This was a long time ago. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, if you hit me up on Twitter, I'll send you a link and you can regale us with your tales.
What the?
Despite its vicious appearance, regarding the wolffish, despite its vicious appearance, the white meat inside was very normal tasting with a nicely firm texture. Next, there was some kind of fish roe, like mentaiko, being grilled. The guy cooking it jokingly told Yuichiro he didn't know what kind of fish it was from, but heard from the fisherman not to worry and that it was, quote, all good to go. All right. Someone handed our reporter some deep-fried salmon shark.
Ooh.
Despite the vicious-sounding name, it had a very mellow taste with a garlic seasoning that went really well with beer. There was even a tank with some warasubo fish, known as the aliens of the Irake Sea, for their grotesque appearance. I mean, you can barely fucking see it.
Yeah.
What am I even looking at here?
You can barely see the appearance.
Unfortunately, these were so limited that only those selected by lottery were able to eat one. One winner graciously allowed Yuichiro one winner graciously allowed Yuichiro a photo op with one, however. Yeah, I don't think I would eat that. I don't even think I want to be in the same state that exists in.
Modified seahorse.
It's gross looking. Finally, it was time for the main event. The skillfish, which was hung triumphantly in the venue, took the stage and was carved up live in front of a hungry audience.
Ooh.
It was then cooked and served to all who were willing to put their buttholes on the line for a taste. Yuichiro prepared for whatever would come of this morsel of fish and braced himself for the bite. However, it was very fine. It tasted so much like the premium fatty cut of tuna known as chutoro. It tasted so much like the premium fatty cut of tuna known as chutoro that he would have thought he had been slipped some of that by mistake had he not seen it carved up before his eyes. Mobile Mercenary says, this is some grotesque looking fish. Like, I thought those ugly fish with the big teeth were ugly, but good lord, yeah, seriously. There's like trillions of species of fish in the ocean, and so many of them are hideous.
Yeah, well, they never reach any sun.
Yeah, there's more species of fish in the ocean than there are population in the world.
Yeah, more species than there are people, right? Now, in answer to the burning question of whether his anus... Hold on. I skipped a part. Hold on. No, I did. Okay. Now, in answer to the burning question of whether his anus leaked oil or not, after a few nervous days, Yuichiro could say unequivocally that no oil seeped from his bottom.
Oh.
And as the guy who previously told us everything about his cola-colored pee and time in Parisian brothel, all right... We're quite sure he's not being coy. However, he still wouldn't recommend skillfish to everyone. The ministry must have issued that warning for a reason, and while he didn't succumb to its oily attack, an unclear number of others might. So if a rare fish festival rolls into your town, take a little time to consider whether you want to enter that potentially greasy world or not. See, I have to wonder. I mean, because we were just railing on the World Health Organization on all that. Maybe they just love the taste of this fish and they just tell you that so that they can keep more of it for themselves. Because as he said, it tastes like the Chutoro, the premium fatty cut of tuna.
I don't want to make a joke sounding anti-gay, but this sounds like it's be self-lubricating.
Yeah, well,
I mean, for
diarrhea.
Right. I mean, if oil is leaking out of your ass, that sounds like you're self-lubricating.
Yeah, oil-based
there's
lubricant.
other reasons to eat this.
Too bad you can't use it with a condom.
There's some people.
For anybody in the audience who doesn't know this, this is a health tip. Don't use condoms with oil-based lubricant. All
there
right.
are some.
What
there
does
are
it like
some,
deteriorate it?
people
From what I
who are
understand.
unfortunate that can't go to the bathroom like in 2 weeks. So this type of fish in their diet would help, and also
Okay,
some
it doesn't say gives you the run. It says oil leaks from your anus. I don't know what that is. I don't understand how that works. I'm not.
Maybe it makes it very sweaty.
Oil is not digested, so it just goes right through your digestive tract and just comes
But
right
then you
out.
could say that about ramen. There's so much oil in ramen that you can literally see it when you look at the broth.
So when you eat ramen, it leaks all out your anus.
All right. Chinese medical researchers claim thicker thighs ensure less cardiovascular problems. So
There's a
now,
fat joke here somewhere.
Thick thighs
now
save lives.
when you're okay, I think Reese stole the punchlines. Researchers at Shanghai Jiaotong University have made the claim that those with larger thigh circumference are at lower risk of long-term cardiovascular problems, but apparently at higher risk of being coveted by fetishists. The academics found that those with larger thigh circumferences, more than 55 centimeters for men and 54 centimeters for women, have a below average chance of developing problems with high blood pressure. By contrast, men with thighs under 51 centimeters and women with thighs under 50 centimeters are at increased risk. The researchers also note that the correlation between thick thighs and better cardiovascular health remain true when controlling for differences in weight, height, and age. Dr. Zhen Yang explained that while high levels of abdominal fat are known to be bad for health, thigh fat may be beneficial. Here's what he had to say, quote, "In contrast to stomach fat, leg fat may be beneficial for metabolism. The most likely cause of this association is that there is more thigh muscle and or fat deposited under the skin, which secretes various beneficial substances that help keep blood pressure in a relatively stable range.
Like cocaine?
A large waist circumference is well known to be associated with elevated blood pressure, and a small thigh circumference is associated with diabetes. However, there are currently no studies that examine the potential of thigh circumference as an indicator of high blood pressure in people with obesity." Now, Sankaku Complex comes in with a really great thought here. They say, however, some may wonder whether the correlation between larger thighs and good health could be related to exercise. Those who work out enough to have larger thigh muscles may have fewer problems with high blood pressure than those whose sedentary lifestyles allow their lower body muscles to atrophy. So, counterpoint. All right. I've got an article here I haven't previously read. I thought because we're not doing a watch club that maybe I would ask the chat if they were interested in this article on Anime Herald. So you guys know that we did the podcast on Thursday last week. And when you do a podcast on Thursday, and then the next podcast we go back to the regular schedule and do it on a Tuesday, we only have 4 or 5 days worth of articles rather than the 7 that we would normally get. So we're wrapping up right now at only 3 hours, which is fine. I mean, we don't have to keep going. But I saw this article. I went on Anime Herald just to see if they had anything that looked interesting, and this article popped up. It's a chronicle of the Western anime bubble from 2007. And they go into They go into Anime Dream. They talk about Suncoast Video. They talk about like anime on VHS, early fan subs and stuff. And I'm just curious if you guys are interested in hearing about this article and sort of our take on that bubble and what it was like living in these times and whatnot. Now, there's also another website that I desperately want to read every article on at some point just because they look interesting to me, called Zimmerit.moe. They have like an article here on the Moai head phenomenon in Japan. They've got an article on Shoji Kawamori's unfinished films. They've got stuff on... they have an interview about Macross Plus with Shoji Kawamori. The early doujin of Kenichi Sonoda.
The early Doge comic of Kenichi Sonoda.
The elusive Judge Dredd manga.
Ooh.
Vehicle design from...
The Cards of Yasuo Otsuka.
Yeah.
It would be that one. If you guys just
anyway, so a lot of these look really interesting. And I thought that at some point I want to read them, though I never have any time in my day to do anything but work on crap all the time. By the way, I'm actually largely caught up with Dunbine. Because yesterday I spent literally almost the entire day recovering a broken couple of chunks in my base in Minecraft in my server. It took all day because it's a long story. I'm not even going to go into it. But I had Dunbine playing while I was trying to fix it, and it took all day. So I'm like caught up to. I'm on like the last disc now or whatever. So they talk about Orgus and all that too. So anyway, I don't know if you guys are interested. We got 5 viewers still watching. So tell me, are you interested in hearing about the 2007 anime bubble and our take on it and everything? Or should we just wrap things up and call it a 3-hour podcast today? What do you guys think? Unless you have something else you want to talk about, that's fine with me. I just thought I would post this as a suggestion.
I was not around during the 2007 anime bubble. But
considering... Good.
I was gonna say the thing about the whole Resident Evil 4 thing about don't remake it. It's perfect the way it is. Don't touch it. It's kind of like when Your Name had a live action movie coming. They're like, you'll ruin your name. It's like
it's not gonna ruin the original game.
Right, you can just play the original if you don't like the new one. I think that maybe it has to do with the people saying, "Oh, I don't want them to remake it because they'll screw it up." It's like. It sounds kind of like you want it remade, though, and you just don't have faith in them to do it right. But the thing is, this is the only opportunity you'd have to get it remade.
Yeah. So when I was growing up, did you guys listen to Linkin Park?
Yeah,
like 2 songs of them.
So after Hybrid Theory, they had a album called Reanimation. That was like a remix of Hybrid Theory, and I think. Another song. I think My December's on that one too. In a remix. Anyway,
that was like an EP. Yeah.
Yeah. So my best friend at the time hated that album because quote it ruined his favorite song, and I had the same argument then that I have today. Is like,
don't listen to it.
Hybrid Theory still exists. Like, how do you mean it ruined your favorite song?
That could be said about Linkin Park after their second actual album, Meteora. Because Minutes to Midnight and everything after that would completely change their sound. That's the nature of being in a band in general. Like if you listen to Coldplay's first 2 albums and then listen to like the Revolution one, it's a completely different band. It sounds like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's really hard to maintain that creative energy in the same way. Although I will say Hybrid Theory is a freaking flawless album. If you go back and listen to that, because like every single track is like, they're on fire. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of bands where like
you've got like 2 good songs on the CD and the rest of it's shit, and you just couldn't. You pumped
can
out
listen to
like
the whole thing. Just
you pumped out
nonstop.
like a one-hit wonder, but then the rest of it's like throw that away. You just got lucky. You know what I
Have
mean?
you-
But yeah,
have you
that
heard-
whole album's great.
Have you heard Queens of the Stone Age's third album, Songs for the Deaf?
I haven't listened to the whole album because I didn't ever buy a Queens of the Stone Age album. But back when LimeWire was a thing, I did have songs from Queens of the Stone Age, but I never actually listened to
That
the whole.
whole CD is like, you have to listen to it at some point.
I'll check it out. I'll put it on YouTube. Do the playlist thing and check it out. Anyway, so considering nobody is interested in even replying to my inquiry as to whether or not they want to hear about this, I think we could wrap things up, or we could just talk about some other anime related things. Yeah, I'm gonna grab something right now before we wrap up.
I would be more interested to talk about it in another podcast instead of right now, because like almost edging towards midnight in me and Reese's time zone, and it's already past your midnight there.
So I need to find it, but I have a Dunbine art book. I actually have one. It's unopened, and I think it's legitimately probably worth at least $200 or $300 now, because of
Not open it.
well, because I kept it in such good condition and stuff. I have a bunch of art books actually that I have a couple that are opened because they weren't ever sealed. Some Ghost in the Shell ones and whatnot. Examples of show us your Bandai.
Show us your Bandai.
I mean, that would take a while to go through. By the way, I was so pleased. I put a new one of those extra boxes up there where I put my extra anime and stuff on it, and it just happened to be like, if I don't put the extra DVDs up on the top after I do them the way I did in the video about transporting DVDs, it's perfect, the exact perfect size for that Pokemon badges thing that I showed you guys in the last podcast that I had no idea what I was going to do with. So that perfectly fit there. Although this was also in that, I've got my Capsule Corp and Red Ribbon Army pins, which I planned on making a Red Ribbon polo for Stealth Weeb at some point.
Ooh.
Oh, there's something else in here. My Metal Gear Foxhound and Kojima Productions. Something just fell. Oh, there's another pin in here. That's why. Oh, shit, there's a lot of stuff in here. So yeah, I got these Kojima Productions and Foxhound and whatever the fuck this is. I think this came from my Shadow Moses shirt. And then there's something else in here. What is this one? Oh, this is, these came from the company I was, I bought a couple shirts off this company, and they gave you pins of the design, which was kind of neat. Little tiny pins of the design. This was from the Shadow Moses shirt, although it doesn't say the same thing on it. Shadow Moses Disposal Facility from old Metal Gear. That's a game I'd play a remake of if they, do I know a Twitch VTuber named Zentreya? No, I don't. I don't use Twitch because I accidentally locked myself out of my account. Whoops. Two-factor authentication's a bitch when you get a new phone. All right. Well, okay, I'll grab a Bandai.
I should scrap Princess. What are you gonna show? And probably get
Show something that wasn't released by Bandai. Sentai. Here, 4 Bandais and 3 Sentais.
Hey,
Did
you
you make that art box?
No, it's a
that's
Paul Champagne.
oh, okay.
She raised 7.3 thousand in one stream for another VTuber, Iron Mouse, who has COVID-19. Oh, not COVID. CVID and autoimmune disease. I mean, that sucks during the pandemic.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to this person I don't know. I feel like the next follow-up post is going to be, then it turned out they're the same person or something like that. All right. Well, Augie sent me this for, hold on. I'll put it in here. Okay. So regarding Anime Expo, Justin Saveka said, in case you missed it today, California Governor Newsom said large gatherings of people are out of the question until there's substantial testing / treatment / vaccine for the coronavirus, right? In other words, AX is almost certainly not going to happen this year. Frankly, I'm pretty sure all of con season is donezo for 2020. Yeah, no, I fully expect it. I do fully expect it, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna wait until they officially announce.
The one person that goes there.
I just want to go there so fucking bad during a pandemic. I think it would be so funny. It would make the greatest video series on my channel to go to fucking a convention during a pandemic, wearing a hazmat suit, you know. Oh, that would be so fun. Anyway, all right. So that's it. Thank you guys for stopping by, and we'll see you next week. So next week is going to be the final Or Battler Dunbine podcast where we actually talk about it. It's probably just going to be me and Augie, though, because I'm pretty sure that neither of the other two that's not how there we go. I'm like, why can't I do it? Neither of those guys are watching it. But
dude, I haven't watched any anime since the what is it? The
pandemic?
Yeah, since the self-isolation.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I'm still interested in hearing suggestions for the Long Watch Club. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to say let's do Space Brothers.
Haikyuu? Space Brothers?
I was going to get that Space Brothers Zero, but Sentai decided to say, $48 shipping.
Buy that during the sale.
I don't think it was
on
sale.
Sale still going on?
Yeah, it probably wasn't on sale. It just came out.
Well,
yeah, it was full price.
I literally did that at work. Like I saw, Haikyuu's on sale. So okay, add to cart and then scroll, add to cart, scroll. Okay, got to go back to work. You know, so I didn't have a chance to actually see.
It wasn't on sale though, so it wouldn't be on the list.
Don't feel bad. You know, actually, it's not even your fault. The past couple streams, they haven't been pushing the notification out. Like you'd have to know that they were happening, and they were happening on weird days and stuff. You've got no obligation to be here, but we're happy when you are. Anyway, so suggestions for the Long Watch Club would be great. Just in case there's something that I haven't thought of that would be great. Also, fucking movies, guys. We have to do movies. We have to come up with movies because
weren't we doing Goblin Slayer after?
Yeah, we're gonna do Goblin Slayer for 1 hour.
I think we should do movies for at least a week or two, just as a reset. Because maybe we could do a movie for 2 weeks, and I'll test out how doing 5 episodes a week is going to be for me on Goblin Slayer. That way, I can actually see how that's going to be. Because what if it ends up being no, we can only do 3 episodes a week.
One thing I was kind of thinking of, instead of just doing, the movie and
it feels really weird. Hold on, I have to do this real quick. Okay, because now I'm actually looking at someone when I'm looking at the at the screen you guys are on. Can you say that again? So
your idea was to do a movie and then have the backburners do 5 episodes.
Yeah, so we would watch them in the background.
It'd be and
then talk about them once we're finished with them.
But that's you're saying we do that because of the limited amount of time you can have to watch stuff.
Yes.
A movie would be maybe an equivalent of 5 episodes, and then so you're basically still doing 10 episodes a week potentially.
That's still better than 13, and it's changing up. It's changing up the.
I understand that. I understand
that. Since we're changing up what we're watching, I'm hoping it would become easier. Because
what I was gonna try and suggest was just do if we're gonna do a 13, do 7 episodes and then do half of a single course.
I thought about doing that too. What do you guys, audience-wise? What do you guys think about splitting? I don't know why I felt some resistance to that.
Cut the Watch Club in half again, instead of doing.
Yeah, so do 7-episode watch clubs instead of 13-episode watch clubs. I mean, it works as long as we have 2 names, for the podcast. Because literally the entire reason I feel like I'm even doing the watch club is for the naming scheme. Because literally I spend my entire days off gathering articles for this, doing this, and then editing for videos, which I'm really hoping I can finish Broly in the next 2 days. I probably can't. It'll probably get pushed to next week, but I am very, very close, and I am gonna take some time to work on it. So starting tomorrow. But anyway, my brain just turned to mush. So yes, there is a Psycho Pass movie.
But you have to like watch a season or two to.
Yeah, I've seen all of Psycho Pass that I own, which is season 1, 2 in the movie. I wouldn't mind doing it again so I could have a chance to watch the new stuff, season 3 and all that. But I don't think that's out yet, right?
No, that's.
So we've also got
only on
Love
Amazon right
Live.
now.
Ah, shit, that's the one we should do. Honestly, that should be our back burner one.
Also,
Love Live?
Sample X. If you ask that again in another podcast, I would happily oblige to show you another Bandai title. So, yeah.
Simple X, you mean example?
I thought I said sample, didn't I?
You said sample X.
Yeah. X, sorry, X sample.
All right. Okay, guys. Anyway, yeah, touch base with us in Discord or on the Facebook group, and we'll get this in motion. But just to wrap this up, next podcast is going to be Done By discussion. I kind of feel like we may want to push that to the following week, but I still have to talk to Flip about guesting with us on that following week, which would be Garzy's Wing. I just want to double check with him. I'm planning to do that on Tuesday night at the time when they normally do their Monday night stream, so that he can come in at a time he's already accustomed to doing streams. I'm going to talk to him about it though. And I figure we will do the watch club first thing at that podcast.
What time would that be?
I don't know. Next Monday, pay attention to when that alert goes out that they're when they tweet out that they're going live. It's like 7:00. I feel like, I don't know. Can't remember. I'm always busy with articles when they go live, so I never get to watch them live usually.
About the same time as this one, you think? Probably.
Something like that. Maybe a little bit later than when we started. But anyway, but I basically would like to set it up. I kind of want to do next podcast on Thursday so that there's less articles for the podcast we would do with Flip. If he is able to join us, so that if he does decide to hang out and go over articles after we do the discussion with Dunbine and Garzy's Wing, that we've got less to go over and less likely to make him upset with our wrong think, because he seems to be very left-leaning in his ideology, which I'm totally okay with having somebody on the show who disagrees with me on one issue or another, for instance, the Vic Mignogna stuff. But I just don't know how that guest would feel. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to put him in a situation where he's going to feel uncomfortable. You know?
I'm here.
So,
yeah, I'm here. Why did I agree to this?
Anyway. All right. So I'll catch you guys next time. Next podcast might be on Thursday.
The 23rd.
Yeah, but we're just gonna see how things go, because you never know when you got two kids that can. Oh,
you never know when you have two kids.
My daughter is able to open the door to my office, and yet my son can't open a water bottle. You know, I don't understand. My son was never able to open doors until it got to the age where he is able to stay out because he cognitively knows that he shouldn't be in there while the door's shut. You know what I mean? The kid runs in for the anyway. All right, I'll let you guys go. Thanks again for stopping by. And example, I will probably see you on the Minecraft server in just a minute. Talk to you later. Bye.